Rob Zombie, known for disgusting, gross, intense movies, made this family comedy on Netflix. This is my suspected budget. I have I have analyzed this movie. I think the Munsters had a budget of $11. This movie
just with the Spirit Halloween.
I don't know what the fuck was this movie. Lights Camera Barstool is presented by Omega Accounting Solutions. If your business suffered significant financial losses or had to shut down in part or in full during the pandemic, you may be eligible for ERC, Employee Retention Credit, the powerful payroll tax credit. ERC was passed as part of the CARES Act to help small businesses recover from the pandemic. If you employed 5 to 500 employees and paid payroll during COVID, you may be eligible for a refund of up to $26,000 per employee. There are numerous subsidies, tax credits for big businesses. Large corporations have been taking advantage of these for decades. The Employee Retention Credit is finally a subsidy made exclusively for small businesses, but it has a limited window of opportunity. Now is the time to act before the government filing window closes, and this refund is gone for good. Omega Accounting Solutions is a government tax incentive expert and offers services in business intelligence, fractional accounting, and analytics. Omega is a small business champion, helping small business owners navigate the complexities of the accounting process, particularly for the immense opportunities around the ERC. Omega empowers small and mid-sized businesses, SMB, owners to make the best informed business decisions through powerful accounting, data, analytics, and insightful reporting. A 10-minute call to Omega's ERC specialist could help your company recover up to $26,000 per employee. Call Omega Accounting Solutions at 800-704-2000, 800-704-2000, or go to OmegaTaxCredits.com to learn more. Welcome to Lights Camera Barstool, episode 56 of season 2. Jeff D. Ken Jack, Chris Castellani, and Gooch coming at you with a pretty jam-packed episode here. A couple reviews. We have, of course, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. We will be talking about the third to last episode of the season, I do believe. The penultimate episode coming up. In 2 weeks, looks like there's going to be some fireworks in that show. Quite a few fireworks coming up. Talking about Rings of Power, the penultimate episode of that show has aired, unfortunately. That flew by.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was quick.
That was very quick. Little Andor talk. There was the, I guess, most anticipated episode of She-Hulk. And then the reviews today, 3 of them. Amsterdam, The Munsters, and Werewolf by Night from Marvel Studios. Oh, boy.
The movies are back in a bad way, folks.
We'll maybe someone liked them. I don't know. But we have 3 reviews. And then an interview with David Boreanaz, Bones himself.
I got to tell you, Chris, he asked a question that I'm curious what you're going to think of. He asked, and this is not to spoil the interview, he asked, who do you think right now, if you had to start a new team, would you take Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts?
We talked about this last week.
Oh, yeah, damn, I forgot.
Yeah,
yes, I was out last week. I got to make 2 quick notes. Blonde was dog shit. Bad movie. Very bad movie. Like, bad movie.
So bad.
It's really bad.
Is that honestly okay? Gooch giving that a 3 out of 100. Is that the lowest rating anyone has given a movie since you guys started?
No, right.
No, we've Ken Jack and I've dropped some zeros on here.
Okay, yeah. That's lower than anything.
In reality, the technical elements should bring it up, but no, fuck that movie.
There's just sometimes. There's some one of the 3 things we reviewed today is going to get a heinously low score compared to what it probably should get. And I don't know if it's the one we'll see. We'll talk about that because there's just sometimes I'll rate a movie a certain way and I'll be like, but that's going down even further because it just a great example of that. 2 of them. Transformers. Transformers Last Night is very deservedly bad. But one of the Pirates of the Caribbean is probably not as bad as I have it rated. It's bad, but like you just got to go. You know what this is? Who made this? How it was like this is dog shit.
Some of the really low ones we have, Chris, are The Wrong Missy.
That's right. Didn't Jeff give that a 0?
You guys got so much pushback on that one too.
I know that was wild. How many people were like, "What are you talking about? This rocks." I gave it a 2. Jeff gave it a 0.
Okay.
What's another good one? Wrong Missy, Serenity, Dad Boat.
I gave
That's an all-timer.
Bliss a 0 last year with Owen Wilson and Salma Hayek.
Oh yeah.
Garfield, A Tale of Two Kitties got a hard 2. Ridiculous 6, that's a 1. Who knows? We've had a couple that were near the bottom. Oh man, Max Steel.
We have a bunch of zeros. The thing
auction,
you reviewed on here, we have some low ones. 3 is low.
Yeah. What did you give the 3? Didn't you give the 355 Ken Jack something really low? I don't think you were on here.
It was
for
a
that
bad movie.
Yeah. I thought you gave it like a 10. Yeah.
Probably pretty low. Oh, Larry the Cable Guy. That's a hard 0 for me.
He gave Lady Ghostbusters two thumbs down. Double 0.
My score of Blonde was a 23. I know Ken Jack gave it a 15. It's a really bad movie. That was shocking.
No good.
Yeah.
Movie not meant to be enjoyed by any human being on Earth.
We'll roll Andor into it, and Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings episode last week was fucking badass. The
volcano exploding.
Yeah, the volcano, Mordor being created was like an unreal moment. That was fucking.
Yeah.
That episode was amazing. That was we tried to. I tried to make it work last week, but we had so many issues with the Dozen live show in Philadelphia. I just couldn't do it. But of anything I wanted to talk about, I want to talk about that Lord of the Rings episode so bad. It was fucking amazing. It was just the Numenorians rolling in. It was badass.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome. Also, a very small amount of slow motion in that episode.
Yes.
Which I know we talked about as a complaint early in the season. There's a couple Galadriel moments that were so much better because they just did it regular sped up. Yeah. Blonde was bad.
Yeah.
Not
real bad.
Before we get into it, this episode brought to you by Gametime. Gametime, a ticketing app created by fans and website for fans. Ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets, sports, concerts, shows, much more than that. MLB playoffs underway. Now's the time to give Gametime a shot. I thought about it. I'm going to be in Pittsburgh on Saturday.
I was going to say, how about those Guardians, man?
Do I drive to Cleveland? But we got stuff.
For 28.
You're not a Yankees fan. You're a Reds fan.
Come to the fucking
You're a Reds fan. I walked by your desk and the Reds lost when throwing a no-hitter. You are a Reds fan.
Yeah, I think that was the point I checked out on the season. Nope.
Yeah.
I know your guy plays for the Yankees.
Where are you going to be watching the Penn State game this Saturday, Joe?
Pittsburgh.
Okay. Yeah.
Can't go to either. But if you're a fan of one of the remaining teams, Gametime, that's the way to do it. Go to the Gametime app. Tons of Barstool fans use it. We've all used it. Gametime is the way to go. Ken Jack, you saw Panic at the Disco. I know for Gametime, right?
It was a really fun time.
Summer sports. Chris, you won the College World Series for like 3 consecutive months.
It's a long trip.
Yeah. Easy to use, amazing deals. Download the Gametime app. Go to the account tab, create a login. Use code LCB for $20 off your first purchase. That's a great deal, especially come playoff time. Download Gametime. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Quick congrats. Ken Jack won. Now 3-0 in the LCB Bowl. Neither team wanted to win the game. I would argue the Chargers nor the Browns deserve to win, but the Browns blew it twice. When you blow it twice, the other team blows it once. That means you lose. So yeah,
that's one of the all-time. Don't feel happy about winning, or don't feel that happy about winning, because Staley fucked up that last decision so bad. But I will say, it's almost in the meta scale a little bit of redemption, because kicking woes have always gone against the Chargers, like Nate Kading missing 3 field goals in a playoff game, like shit like that. It's happened to us for like the last 2 decades. So nice to have it go our way once.
Kickers have missed 2 kicks against the Browns in the last 2 years. 2 kicks. The Browns have not gone on the road. That's insane.
That's a crazy stat.
The Browns missed more. The Browns missed as many kicks yesterday as opponents have home and away the last 2 years. That is so unlucky. It's bananas.
That's what's weird about that stat. That's pure luck. It's like you could say maybe you're rushing the kicker as well, but like 2 kicks in 2 years.
The Browns are like 6 points away from being 5-0, and they're 2-3. The Bengals are like 3 seconds away from being 5-0.
Yeah,
you guys stink too.
The Zach Taylor.
AFC North's a joke.
What is Zach Taylor doing, dude?
No one wants to win it.
You said it when we first met you. I asked you about Zach Taylor, and you guys may have walked into a bad scenario last year by going to the Super Bowl with a coach who probably shouldn't be the head coach.
Yeah. The guy's calling shovel passes for our 5th wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Stanley Morgan. We're drawing up plays for Stanley Morgan.
That one play, Stanley Morgan was lined up on fucking OA, the elite defensive tackle on the Ravens. Like, what is happening on that team?
I just don't get it.
Lions got blanked 29-0.
Fucking
26, 29.
Clown ass show.
I took the over.
Can coach his way out of a fucking paper sack.
I took the over on that game. I thought that was going to be a higher scoring game because I was like, their offense is like
scored a bunch of points, but Frank Zappa lit it up with Matt Patricia as his offensive coordinator. It was very.
All 4 of our teams, real doofus head coaches, except the whole reason we have a win is because 2 of them had to play each other.
Yeah, it's true.
That's just it. That's what it came down to.
Stefanski, is he close to being done?
No.
I didn't think so. Okay, I was going to say.
He's definitely made more mistakes recently than he probably should, but I don't. For a negative fan as I am, I'm not a guy who's on it. He fucked shit up yesterday, but
he bought himself a lot of time. Yeah.
Football's stupid. Sports are stupid. Go Guardians.
Being a fan sucks ass.
Yeah,
it's the worst.
Nothing good about it.
Yeah.
LCB Bowl, another one. Chris, again, like you said, Michigan, Penn State, upcoming weekend. Anything else?
Lions, Browns play each other, or Bengals, Browns? Or Bengals, Browns, obviously, but Bengals Lions
play on Halloween on Monday Night Football.
Did you, before we move into actual talk, did you guys watch that video of the baby I sent you?
The Rock?
Yeah,
oh yeah, hell yeah.
Could not guess how
look. I'm a fan of the LCB Discord, the film crew, but I got some shit for making fun of Black Adam. Black Adam.
Why?
I got some shit for making fun of how few seats they sold. People were like, "Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad." 30 minutes in, they sold half the theater. They haven't sold a single fucking ticket in any of those theaters since then. And I know Wakanda Forever. It's a tough comparison, and I will cede the point. Wakanda Forever is the sequel to one of the biggest movies ever in the history of the country. Point being, though, even the lowest of rung Marvel movies are selling out theaters left and right in the biggest cities in the country. Black Adam, there's some showings in Manhattan at the biggest theaters with like fucking 2 seats at 7, 8 o'clock on opening night. That movie might bomb.
It's Black Adam is, I think, in a weird spot where it's being buoyed by the biggest action star in the world, and it still doesn't have interest. Like that's kind of.
So do you think crazy. When does Black Panther come out? Like 3 weeks?
November 11th or something.
It'll be like the closest Marvel movie.
It's gonna push. It's gonna push Black Adam out of theaters.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Me clowning at 30 minutes in, again, I'll see it another point. That might have been unfair. But now we're like 2 weeks after ticket sales started. The highest grossing theater in the country, the one that we go to for IMAX, that theater is half sold.
Yeah.
Wow.
That
is like that's an indicator. That's got to be like I don't know.
He's gonna save it.
But just wait. Because it'll be like 2 weeks after it opens, and all the positive word of mouth comes out from the 10 people that see the movie. Like it's gonna change the landscape of cinema. Like you guys are gonna be like eating your fucking hats.
There is if the leaks are true and the rumors are true, then there is a very specific part of the DC fan base that's known for having a strong presence online that will show out and see that movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the smelly people.
Do you guys think that sometimes it's possible a movie just misses its window? Because dude, how long has this thing been in development? I like
20 years.
There does come a point where you just get tired of hearing about it. That's like I don't even want to see it anymore. Like maybe that's the case with this.
Dude, I wish Chris was with us, Jeff, at that Venom 2 screening. There is maybe not a group of smellier people than Venom fans. And we go in, and what'd that guy say? What did he call? Oh, he's we were talking about Andy Serkis, this guy that was like in front of us in line. He goes, "You guys hear Andrew's gonna be here?" We're like, "What the Andrew? Andrew Serkis? Who the fuck calls him Andrew Serkis?"
That's a weird pet peeve of mine. Is celebrities do this all the time? Call Robert De Niro fucking Robert. Like when people are like, "Oh, I talked to Bob yesterday." Okay, yeah. Congrats, you know him. Like when fucking James Gandolfini died, Alec Baldwin was like, "Oh, I was great friends with Jimmy." No, okay, you knew him. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Now, but at the very least, they knew him. For some random guy to be like, "Andrew's gonna be here," is insane.
Fucking
Andrew. I'll tell you what, we were Very out of place in that screen.
Yeah, that was. We were just you, me, and Yarabi on the that one little spot, and the rest of the guys were all wearing. They were geared up. They all had the flat brims. They all had the Walmart tees, man.
They were like handing shit out, and people were jumping over us. They're like, "You want it?" And we're like, "We're good."
That place stank.
Paved the way for the return of cinema. Paved the way for No Way Home.
Fact. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Big one off the top.
All right.
Big one. The Super Mario Brothers movie trailer dropped last week. We have been tied to this on social for a while. We did that. We did a fake. We did this a while ago. We did a fake dub of that viral video of the guy who. It's the guy in the jumpsuit doing like.
It's not Donkey. Everyone always thinks it's video game Donkey, and it's not.
Yeah, he's whatever. He's doing the. What does he say? I forget.
That's the friggin' gabagool.
Yeah. You put that over. Yeah. But Gooch tweeted it again like a month ago, and it popped off like 40,000, 50,000 retweets. All the meme accounts are stealing it. So like this has been in our mentions on LCB for a while now. Trailer comes out. I guess stars Jack Black as Bowser. Charlie Day as Luigi, Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach, and of course Chris Pratt as Mario, which we'll get to. That's one of the big news to talk about. Yeah. Hits theaters in April. I'll say though, I was like a pretty big fan of the trailer, minus one thing. I wonder what. Yeah. I think it looks fucking it looks fantastic. Yeah. The animation is like, not that I thought it was gonna be bad, but like I remember when the Lego movie trailer came out, you didn't know what to expect. And you see it, and that was the first time you went, "Oh fuck, this could have something." I kind of think that with Super Mario Brothers, the trailer looked unreal. The Bowser stuff was cool. He got the penguins, which if you play Mario 64 and other Mario stuff, I'm sorry to offend Mario fans, definitely Mario Kart. It all looked great. I loved the trailer. Just the Mario voice from Chris Pratt is really bad. It's like what the fuck was it? What were they thinking? I don't know. Yeah. I actually almost asked you today about it. And I didn't on purpose. I like the trailer. I thought was great, right? But the voice.
The whole trailer was good. It's just the voice is weird because, and we had talked about this earlier. It's like if you're doing that voice, you either need to commit and be like, I'm going to try and do my own goofball Mario voice and like lean into the absurdity. And I feel like people would like vibe with that, or you need to just do your own voice. And instead he's doing like an Italian American Brooklyn accent. You know what I mean? Like he's literally doing like, oh, forget about it. Like that's not Mario and that's not you. It's something weird in between. And I feel like he's like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's like, you gotta go one way or the other. If he leaned into it, I think though, and really went goofy, I think people would respond more. They'd be like, "Oh, this is gonna fucking rock."
Mushroom Kingdom. That's like what it is.
Literally.
Yeah. And you know what sucks too is we know Chris Pratt's capable of that because of, as you just brought up, Jeff, the Lego movie. He was great in that. He was so funny and so energetic and infectious as the main character there. I'm gonna read this off because when the first thing before I watched the trailer, the first thing I saw was the clip you posted, Kenjack. Yeah. And I thought that it was you playing with
fucking with you, yeah.
Yeah. And so when I went back and watched it, I texted you saying I legit thought that Chris Pratt Mario clip was a joke when you posted it. What a goddamn gold mine. And you said it's not even an Italian accent, it's just a really bad New Yorker accent. And what stinks also is that when you like I was about to say Jack Black as Bowser, unrecognizable, like clearly putting a lot of effort into it. I'm with you, Jeff. The look of the movie, like there is a real budget here. Like I actually do think you could do something really cool with this and it could work.
Oh yeah.
But like, yeah, that's the money shot of the trailer and it's just a huge failure. It just stands out so much.
He doesn't even say the thing.
Bad trailer. I don't think it looks that awful. Yeah.
He doesn't even say it's me, Mario. He says he has like a bastardized version of it. Fucking bizarre.
Next stop, Mushroom Kingdom. Yeah, it's like, oh no.
Oh, it's Mushroom Kingdom. Here we come. It's like
that's what it is. Fuck. Gooch, I don't know where you stand on it. I will say, here's my comment on October 10th, 2022. I think this is gonna be good, but I think it may come with the caveat you gotta excuse the voice. We'll see. But I do think it's gonna be good. I don't know where you stand, Gooch.
I think it's gonna be great. I like the animation quite a bit. Like that, I did not expect Illumination to put something out like that because they've done like they've done a lot of big commercial hits. Like they did the Sing movies, they've done the Minions stuff lately, but that's not like high level animation. There's
a little more texture to this, right?
Yeah, the texture was like very unique and something I don't think I've seen before. Like it looked really good. Jack Black as Bowser sounded awesome. Like, you can tell he's having fun with it. Like he's hamming it up, which is what you should do in those voice roles, in my opinion, is like ham it up a lot, especially for a kid's movie. Chris Pratt, I mean, they let him say 5 words. That's not a great sign. I don't know. I think Charlie Day's Luigi would be good too, because he's another guy like Jack Black that's gonna go like all out and like have fun with it.
Yeah, the tease at the end, he goes into the mansion, like Luigi's mansion, been chased by the ghosts or whatever, the Koopa ghosts. Yeah,
I do think this movie will make $1 billion at the box office.
Oh yeah,
I think this is like
gonna crush.
Easy bet. Yeah,
yeah,
super easy to market.
Yeah,
I think Jack Black and Charlie Day are two comedians with like some of the most goodwill in all of Hollywood. Like, you know, everybody loves Jack Black. I'm pretty sure everyone loves Charlie Day that knows him from anything. Yeah. And I think the combination of those two is like super, super smart.
When I was in high school, the gang that I
was fooling with my boys.
It was me and the rest of the Jets used to hang out. No, but the friends I hung around with, they used to call me Charlie because they said that I reminded them of Charlie
from It's Always Sunny.
Always Sunny, yeah.
Worst characters to be compared to be honest.
Yeah.
I love Charlie. Group? Yeah.
They were calling on you during popcorn reading every single time.
Yeah. I used to walk into places and ask them about their spaghetti policy. I think that's probably what gave it away. But yeah.
God.
So it sounds like we're on board with that. That's good. Just I don't know. You got to hear more. I
think it'll be fun. I think like it'll be like you'll just get used to it without effect throughout the movie or whatever. But like I just wish it was one or the other if I could have picked.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the look of it, I think we're going to be pretty awesome. Netflix and HBO reportedly failed to make pitches to the Tolkien estate to land the rights to Lord of the Rings. They just sound, I mean, I get it. It's their stuff, but they sound impossible to work with.
Yeah,
they're right. That's the thing. Like here in this specific situation, they're right. I wouldn't want Netflix doing Lord of the Rings either, but like they are impossible to please. They are just the worst people in the world.
HBO wanted to do a series, which would basically be a remake of the Peter Jackson trilogy. That sounds pretty stupid. Netflix wanted to do individual series around different characters, similar to how they did the Marvel, and that freaked them out. That's fair. Amazon won them out. Smaller bid than Netflix. They do sound like very tough, but I mean, there's some people who still definitely don't like it. But I'll tell you what, I'm fully bought in on this shit. So I do think it worked out quite well. The Netflix one sounds like it would have been really bad. Like, I mean, not that the HBO one wouldn't have been either, but you can like kind of pass off like redoing it, like not great, but whatever. Netflix doing like a bunch of characters doing these like really long, drawn out bad series, that might have really been like almost stinkier. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Have they ever properly explained what it is they don't like about the Peter Jackson version, or is it just like you're not going to please us type?
They don't like the moments in where they like deviated away from the actual lore of the book. They want it to be like a word for word, frame by frame adaptation, and it wasn't because it couldn't be. It's impossible.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like Stephen King with The Shining syndrome.
Yes, exactly.
It's one of the crazier things too, Chris. Like people who try to shit on this show just sound so stupid sometimes because they're like, "Oh, the Tolkiens are rolling over. This isn't like the Peter Jackson original." It's like, well, they didn't like that one either. And Peter Jackson made a couple big changes to that. It's like,
Justice for
you don't
Tom
have to like
Bombadil,
it.
as you
I know. I was gonna say no Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, they really wanted Tom Bombadil, the king. Fucking Limerick
I
king.
don't think, and obviously HBO is like the king of prestige television. I don't think that would work. Like, I don't know. Like, Lord of the Rings just doesn't feel like
it's not the vibe, right?
HBO, like the vibe. Like, Lord of the Rings is so like very cut and dry, good versus evil. Like, there's not a lot of characters in the gray, and that's just kind of like where HBO lives.
Yeah, and it's not like a gruesome show for the most part, or gruesome property. Like they don't thrive on that sort of thing in the way that like HBO would offer. If that makes sense.
The Netflix thing would have been a disaster. Netflix
would have been bad.
They're not built for it yet.
Can you imagine the backlash? I mean, it'd be like if they said we're remaking Star Wars, the original. Mm-hmm. Like,
they got Chase Stokely playing Aragorn.
The Penn Badgley.
Noah Centineo.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. The Aragorn origin story.
Bruh, I'm Frodo. What up?
These little people, man. They're fucking dope. I don't know how
HBO, Season 2 of White Lotus trailer. Aubrey Plaza, Jennifer Coolidge, Haley Richardson, Theo James, Michael Imperioli, F. Murray Abraham, many more. Hits HBO October 30th, which is very much around the corner. Where's that Succession? I'm doing a rewatch of Succession. I think I'm going to miss the window. I think I'm going to doing it too early. I need more on Succession because we got nothing right now. The fact that it was filmed, like some of the scenes are filmed close by me not long ago. What do we think about the White Lotus trailer?
It was cool. I loved that first season of the show, and like I was kind of like hesitant. I'm like, I don't know if this is a show that demands a second season or anything. I thought it was like a cool little limited series or whatever, and that was it. So it wasn't totally sold, but I mean, this cast rocks. It's an awesome combination of people, and having Jennifer Coolidge back, who was like a massive standout. Like, you want to talk about people who like were disrespected in their film career for what they actually offered. Jennifer Coolidge near the top of that list, and then people could see like what she offered in White Lotus that first season. Man, I'm happy she's back. I'm happy she's back in a huge way. And again, this cast fucking rocks. Mike White, I believe, wrote this season as well. Gonna be sick. Can't wait.
She's had a very bizarre arc. I mean, I didn't watch season 1, so I don't really have much of an assessment. But like, you know what movie she was fucking great in? And it was the first time where I saw her in a different light. And it was my favorite movie of that year. Was Promising Young Women, dude. Mm-hmm. It was fucking. It was her and Mr. Krabs played the parents in that.
Yeah, that's right.
And they were great. That's one of the reasons I love that movie. Is they loaded up on comedic actors who were known for very specific things. Not Carey Mulligan, but like Bill Burnham and she was great. She was heartbreaking in that.
Sam Richardson.
Yeah. Did she win? Did she win an Emmy for the first season of White Lotus?
I think she won something.
Won something, yeah. How about that? Fucking Stifler's mom. Good for her. Yeah,
yeah, no,
she's been. I mean,
she got an Emmy.
On fire lately.
She was amazing in Legally Blonde. been in
Cinderella Story, baby.
Click.
Yeah, no, I was a little worried heading into this, like you, Kinja, because the vibes, not the vibes, but like my biggest concern was True Detective. Like that's kind of the HBO really fucked that up. Like the True Detective, they had what's his name, Nick Pizzolatto.
Right in like 2 days.
Yeah, they had him write it real quick, kind of like this, but it looks like Mike White actually has something here. And I love Aubrey Plaza. She's a good fit.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. And Christopher looks so.
Season 2 of fucking True Detective, man. And when they had Vince Vaughn playing this super eloquent villain, like speaking like he's like reading out of a thesaurus or whatever, like
a highway cop, right?
Yeah. The only thing that was good about that season was Colin Farrell as like the cop when he went and threatened the kid's dad. And he's like, you come near my kid again, I'll kill your dad and butt fuck his corpse. I was like, what the fuck? He was really good in that though. That hit in limited. Taylor Kitsch though, bad. And also, what's her name? Fuck.
Rooney Mara?
No, not Rooney Mara.
Kate Mara?
Notebook. The Notebook. What's her name?
Rachel McAdams?
Rachel McAdams. Yeah, Rachel McAdams wasn't very good in that season either. Third season was good though.
I love Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, it was.
Like third season.
Two more things Netflix related. Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery will release in 600 theaters. I need to get my tickets because I do not want to watch this on my TV at home at all. I want to watch Knives Out how it should be intended on a big screen.
Yeah. Enough theaters. We'll obviously find one in New York. It might be harder for Chris, but
this feels like a big deal, right? Like Netflix doing this in 600 theaters, like it feels like a big industry deal. Like,
yes,
if this works, like, could you not see more studios and more platforms giving their movies like a 1 week release? So you just get the massive opening week, and then a month later you push it to streaming, so you get the word of mouth heading in if it's good. Yeah, I mean, I could see this if this works. Like, I could see a lot of studios starting to do like 1 week releases
if they like pick their moments right. Yeah.
I also think it really helped that the film that came before it was a theatrical release.
Yes, and also great.
Right, yes. And two, the word of mouth on this is already really good. So I think that they probably feel confident, putting it in theaters. Had it gotten a mixed reception when it was, Venice it premiered at. I feel like they may be less inclined to put it in theaters. But this is next month, right, Jeff?
Yeah, this is November, so Thanksgiving. We'll review when it comes out around Christmas, though. We won't make people go to see this to listen to us talk about this.
It's gonna be we got a pretty packed November and December, I feel like. Even January too.
We have Halloween Ends next week. I'm very excited.
Okay. Yeah.
Can't wait to see Halloween.
10 out of 10 excited. I really like how are they gonna end? They're not gonna kill him.
Not even close.
I'll be stunned if they kill him.
Jeff, was it you who told me that they are going to kill him because the rights switch over studio wise?
I didn't know. I actually didn't say that. I don't know, maybe
I think I saw that somewhere that the rights switch over after this movie. So who has it right now? Universal. Who is it?
Yes, this is because it's going on. It wasn't the last one was on Peacock.
Yeah, so they lose the rights to the characters. So I think they're gonna kill them off.
Well, let's see how they follow up. The last one was, according to Jamie Lee Curtis, a commentary on Black Lives Matter. So let's see how this next Halloween movie goes.
The next step is Rob Zombie remake number 2.
Nothing like the well-known, culturally sensitive Jamie Lee Curtis taking on Black Lives Matter. We know she's gonna really nail this one. Mm-hmm. This one I think is gonna be bad. Because that last one was a real stinker. Something about it had one really good redeeming scene, and it's that opening where he just takes on the firefighters, which is so ridiculous that's good. But fuck, man, I have very low hopes and expectations for this Halloween entry.
Sorry, I had to look at something. Apologies. I really unironically am very excited for this movie. Mm-hmm. I guess that means I am ironically excited. But I'm like I saw the schedule yesterday, and we hadn't done an update to movierankings.net in like 2 weeks. I got to do a big, and I was looking at what's coming up next, and I got fired up last night. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to watch it. Lastly, Netflix first trailer for their comedy series Blockbuster, loosely based on the last Blockbuster, which is in Bend, Oregon, starring Randall Park and Melissa Fumero, hits Netflix on November 3rd. I'm not going to steal your line, Gooch. You said exactly what it looks like.
Looks like a ripoff of Superstore.
Yes,
like a parody of Superstore.
Written by the same people.
Yeah.
Oh, is it really?
The same writers?
No, it said writers of Superstore. Yeah, in the trailer.
Oh, wow.
Oh, did you really? Let me double check.
So many of our trailers, if it's in the beginning, I missed it because so many of our trailers I just watch on Twitter and I just start them. Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of just zoning out watching. I was like, this looks fine. Looks like whatever.
I think it looks kind of bad, but I mean,
man.
Randall Park will make it serviceable because he's so fucking likable. He's so fucking likable. It'll just work because of him.
It's not going to be worse than Space Force. Oh. Space Force was bad.
Even season 2, I heard season 2 was better. But
I heard that too, but you got to
watch. Yeah. I'm glad you feel that way, Gooch, because I was worried that I was going to be the one stick in the mud per usual. I love the premise. I love Randall Park, and I'm with you. I think he's going to try to carry this thing across the finish line, but the writing in this is like modern SNL writing, at least based on the trailer, where it's a bunch of shitty millennial references, bad pop culture references. Any trailer that uses the term flex at this point makes me just want to not watch it ever. I think he's going to be good in it. I think he's got mega star potential. I just like that guy so much. But bad jokes in the trailer. I didn't laugh once, but I love the premise that I really do hope it works. But I think we're in lockstep here. Yeah.
Yeah, not a strong one, but I think I agree with Gooch and you that Randall Park. I mean, I'm gonna give it a try. It's Randall Park.
Yeah,
why not?
Yeah, I'll definitely toss it on. That's a freebie. Give it a shot. Now we're from our sponsor, BetterHelp. It can be tough to train your brain to stay in problem-solving mode when faced with challenge in life. But when you learn how to find those solutions for yourself, there's really no better feeling. And BetterHelp is one of those possible great solutions. We've tried BetterHelp. Therapy can be great, big or small. The great thing about BetterHelp too is that you have many options. It's convenient, accessible, affordable, and entirely online. You don't got to talk to anybody. You can chat. You don't got to face anyone face-to-face, video chat, phone. There's so many options for it. It eliminates the excuse of saying you don't want to go see someone in person. Convenient, accessible, affordable, and like we said, all online. Get matched with therapists after filling out a brief survey and switch therapists at any time. BetterHelp is a fantastic service. And when you want to be a better problem solver and get therapy, therapy can be the thing for you. Visit betterhelp.com/lights today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lights. Like we say, when you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/lights today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lights. Moving on. Thank you to BetterHelp. We'll talk about She-Hulk. She-Hulk introduced Daredevil. Matt Murdock, Daredevil, introduced in She-Hulk. I thought the
Horny.
the very horny.
Matt Murdock fucks.
Which you know what?
He fucked in the original Netflix series. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but like it wasn't as
horn dog. Like
it was not as like I don't know how to explain it.
It was a running bit that he only like talked to the hot girls, and like Foggy would always be like, "How do you know they're hot?" Like he always just like was who was in it? Ahsoka. Whoever.
Yeah,
Rosario Dawson was his girlfriend.
Yeah. Ahsoka.
Yeah, but I feel like this was like a more horny fuck, if that makes sense.
I enjoyed this. I thought this was probably the best or better one. I liked the introduction of it. I personally, so there was some complaints online about the humor of the character. They said, "Oh, Daredevil making these jokes."
His joke was bad. It was a bad joke. The big one that was on the car. It was bad.
None of it really bothered me. My thing with Daredevil is that I do know Daredevil in the comics, and I'm not like an avid reader. The Daredevil in the Netflix show is not what you're going to get here. You're going to get a lighter, more comedic one, and that's what the character is, though. In the comics, like all these Marvel characters are comedic in their roles. Are they comedic to the level of like the Thor: Love and Thunder, where some people don't like it? Maybe not. Like we're like the stop and make a joke every 2 seconds. But I like the introduction of Daredevil. I think Charlie Cox is very good in the role. No real complaints. I thought a couple of the scenes we can go back talking about how tough it's going to be to make She-Hulk look good in any of these things. But yeah, I don't know. I had no problem with it. I enjoyed the intro. I'm very excited for more Daredevil shit. You can tell he loves the character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really cool action, I think, and I think her She-Hulk super suit sick. I did actually I genuinely liked the She-Hulk Daredevil romance, if that makes sense. Like I would like that to be a thing that continues throughout the rest of She-Hulk or whatever else. The one line of "my ass remains unkicked," followed up by like unwhooped, and let's fix that. Like that's the most Marvel shit ever. Like, you know what I mean? And like the show like is generally like it has a solid hit rate as far as jokes go. Like they're not usually like that. They're usually stuff that's like a little more like I don't know, punchy, funny. Yeah.
I think the show is not that painfully unfunny. I think there's a lot of jokes.
I think as I'm saying, the hit rate is better than I think people would admit. But I think just that one joke really did. It made the waves too that morning that She-Hulk came out. Everyone was talking about that.
Yeah. Well, then people were also pissed because they're like, "He's got to be like the Netflix one." You're not going to get
that. That's not going to happen.
It was never going to happen.
Yeah,
it was literally never going to happen.
That actually would be worse. If you get a super serious character dropped into this universe, it's going to be not good.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think there'd be any chance? Like if they just tried it once?
No, that'd be awful. You can make a less jokey character, but like a super serious character just dropped into this universe.
You can't do a DC character in that. Basically,
I guess you could do super serious if you did it like Fish Out of Water, like the early Thor stuff, where it was character took himself seriously.
Yeah, that was bad.
Really, you see, I defend not the Dark World, but like the first Thor. And
some people like the first Thor better than I think it receives credit wise.
Yeah. But no, I get what you're saying. It's so weird because I think of all the Marvel stuff, and I know it's technically maybe not connected to the MCU, I feel like the Daredevil TV show has a stronger base of people who just love it.
Compared to any of the other Marvel Netflix shows, by far.
Yeah, well, now it's not.
Netflix shows in general, people get so pissy about like continuity and if they're in the universe, and it's crazy. They'll get mad. Yeah, no, it's like it's a smaller base, but it's such a passionate base. Like it's obviously not as famous as like the Avengers movies, but yeah, I mean there are people who believe truly that is like the best MCU product like ever.
I want to note too before I forget the Ribbit and Rip It Frog Man. Like he was funny, so and someone mentioned in our chat that he's kind of like he had vigilante vibes. Like I definitely light vigilante light vibes, but like he was really damn funny, and I think that a lot of those dialogue sequences were like Daredevil's explaining the difference between like thugs and goons or whatever, or henchmen. I thought that was pretty damn funny. And all those like the little bits of dialogue between the henchmen I thought was really good as well. Like when they were talking about like, yeah, he wants to call us the tadpoles. Like that shit's funny. Sorry, it's just funny. And then also him like breaking in or her breaking in when he's like, no, I want to take these guys out one by one. It's going to take a half an hour. And I get that shit works for me. I'm sorry.
I like Leapfrog. Funny.
He's funny.
I've been the biggest hater on this show, but these last 2 episodes have been a significant step up for me. I think they just made a huge mistake, and I brought this up on the long take. The storyline of Jin, no one likes Jin, but they all like She-Hulk. She can't get a date. It's just like, even in a world with like aliens coming down from the sky, you're not going to convince me that Tatiana Maslany is not wildly attractive. And if she's a lawyer, like 32-year-old lawyer living in LA, nice corner office, yeah, she can't get a date.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's come on.
It's dude. I mean, movies do that a lot. It's like go ahead.
We floundered on that storyline for like 3 episodes. So I think if you just take these last 2 episodes, you bump them up, bump all that other shit out. Just take it out. You just skip those episodes, hop straight to this point. Like, it's actually much better. Like, I don't know. This was it's like, this is so much better. I did like the Daredevil bits. The one line was terrible. My ass remains unwhooped. The CGI still looks not good. Very clearly. I don't know why they keep going back to that fucking office. That's where it looks the worst.
Oh, man, it's bad in the office. That's a great point.
Dude, it looks bad. She's sitting at that desk every time. It looks so unnatural. The Daredevil bit where he did the walk of shame, that got a very hearty laugh out of me. I thought that was funny. Like, the idea of that, like, it just like, you never get to see that stuff in Marvel. Like, it's fun.
Let's roll it into Werewolf by Night, actually.
Okay.
I think it makes sense to talk about it.
Marvel, yeah.
So we can do, because I don't think it's gonna be a crazy long review. It's a 1 hour. It's a 1 hour special.
Yeah.
It's a special presentation by Marvel. I thought the opening was awesome. I love that they had the old CBS special presentation by Michael Giacchino, who's done so many. I mean, I guess I'll give you the rap sheet of what he's done.
Don't skimp on the video games. Great video games.
His directorial debut. I mean, fuck. The movies here, it's endless. Fucking Up, old Mission Impossible, big J.J. Abrams collaborator.
He did Lost as well. Star
Trek, Lost. Again, the Mission Impossible movies, the new Planet of the Apes movies, some Zootopia, Inside Out, Rogue One, a Star Wars story, the new Spider-Man movies. Fuck, what else? He did
the fucking Batman, dude.
Batman. Yeah. I'm not even there yet.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Jojo Rabbit. He did American Pickle. I'm sure he's like,
I actually like that movie, but yeah.
He did all the Medal of Honors. He did Call of Duty. He did all these great video game soundtracks that I'm sure like shit you've played. Fucking like The Incredibles, I think you mentioned already. All those ones, the Lego games, like all that shit he's done.
Incredible composer. Doing this movie stars Gael Garcia Bernal, who
beast.
Was in Coco. He kind of really, what was it that got him big time in Mozart in the Jungle?
Mozart in the Jungle, yeah.
Mozart in the Jungle, he won all his awards for. He makes his Marvel Cinematic Universe debut as Jack Russell, aka Werewolf by Night. Laura Donnelly also in this movie as Elsa Bloodstone. I believe they were called Blood Gems in the Marvel Cinematic in Marvel Comics, but much like Infinity Gems were switched to Infinity Stones for the MCU, switched to Bloodstone. Here is the synopsis for Werewolf by Night. Again, it's like a 58-hour-long thing. Follows a secret group of monster hunters as they compete for a powerful relic while going up against a dangerous monster. The dangerous monster is in teases, but I won't say it. But it is a well-known Marvel comic character. I thought this was, unless I'm missing something, the best thing Marvel's done this year. This is their Halloween special. Yeah. Unless I'm forgetting something.
Yeah. Easily.
I agree. Yep.
Because what else have they done this year? Like, I enjoyed Thor: Love and Thunder, not as much my second watch. I'm still pretty much where I am on Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. My rating dropped a little bit. I like it more than most people did. I enjoyed it. But the TV stuff has been all over the map. But I thought this was the best thing they've done. The kills were fucking sick. I couldn't believe they did some of those on Disney Plus. The story was to the point. I think it probably could have been like a hair longer, but the story got done everything it wanted to do. It introduced a new character and introduced new things. Thought some of the early like kind of narration getting to the point and setting everything up was fantastic. I thought all the jokes hit. The serious stuff was great. The way it was shot was really cool. It's mostly in black and white. This right here is what they should do.
Amen.
Stop making the series unless there's like Daredevil works. I think Daredevil works. You have a proven concept. You can do that street level stuff. But to keep introducing new characters, do 50 to maybe 80, 90-minute special presentations.
With no promise of having to use those characters more, like just self-contained.
Right.
Yeah. How many episodes is She-Hulk? 8?
Yeah.
8 30-minute episodes, that's what, 4 hours or more? Just if you could have condensed She-Hulk into an hour and a half, like special, and I know that's basically a movie, but you can trim it down more than that. Like, make them smaller movies for Disney Plus, make them special presentations. This was like, I hope this is a fucking revelation for Marvel. They're like, this is what we should do. They're kind of doing it with Armor Wars. Armor Wars is not going to be a series, it's going to be a movie now.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So,
Release or
what?
it's going to theaters though, right?
Go to theaters, but point being, like great Armor Wars. Now again, that's different, established character, but like Rhodey, man, this like I hope they see this. They go, oh fuck, more of this shit. It's different. It's unique. It's got a cool vibe. You can tell Giacchino got everything he wanted to get done here. Man, this was cool. I gave it a score because I'm going to count it. I have the Marvel movieRankings.net. I gave it an 85. I thought this was awesome. This was a fucking cool project from Marvel.
Yeah, I echo a lot of what you said. I think for I believe a rookie director or rookie feature maker or whatever, like that was some like pretty impressive shit from Michael Giacchino. Like a lot of the action shots, like instead of it being like kind of the more classic Marvel shaky cam stuff, like they have some stable stuff. Like you're sitting there, you're watching all these crazy fights, some cool wire work. Like you were mentioning before, like really cool kills. The storyline was really cool, and I think it was very much like helped and complemented by like the black and white. I think the black and white was sick. I think like it worked really well, and when they did it with the Bloodstone turning red, I'm just a sucker for that. I guess maybe you can trace that back to like Schindler's List or something. I always think that shit's cool. I'm sorry. Yeah. But they I don't know why I keep saying I'm sorry. That's like the 5th time I've done it. I'm not sorry. I'm not actually sorry. It's a dumb phrase.
You should be.
But that I think that the way that they use color in that, especially more towards the end when like stuff was like coming back together or being resolved, I thought that was really cool. And just it was a nice, short, contained story, and I really appreciated that. And it was different from what Marvel usually does. You usually don't get that level of gore or nastiness. And not really gore, but it was more towing the line than they've ever done before, I'd say. And just really good shit, really good stuff. Like I enjoyed the hell out of getting just a nice little condensed storyline from a character that like I'm not beholden to having to see more of. Like I'm not like, oh well, now I need to watch 5 more things with Gail Garcia Bernard as this werewolf dude or like this Cthulhu monster or whatever. Like I don't need to see any more of this. Like I was happy with that being its own little self-contained universe. Like Jeff was saying, like I would love them if they were to do that with more characters moving forward. Like that would be just such a great, like nice little specials. Like it's such a great formula in my brain versus like doing 12 episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier season 2 or whatever shit, like stuff like that. That to me doesn't, and at this point in Marvel's TV career, like that it doesn't hold as much interest to me versus like a special, because I feel like there's like something like, not to use it twice, but there's something special about a special. Like you want to go, it's something cool about it. There's an allure to specials. Yeah. Like I can't, we're like one of the things I'm more excited for going forward with Marvel is the holiday special that James Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy. Like I'm very excited for that. So yeah, very, very fun. I'd recommend it to basically anybody looking for a Halloween movie on streaming or whatever. It's good, spooky, and I think a lot of people would enjoy it, even outside of the Marvel universe.
May not be for everyone. It's kind of gory, I guess.
Bit, not like super gory. It's bloody.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can see people being like, some real pussy being like, no, not for me. No, it's cool though. I echo that. Chris.
Okay. This is an interesting one because I'm not as in love with this maybe as you guys are, but I am in love with the concept and I am completely in love with the direction and the overall execution in regards to the look of the special, the pacing of the special. My big thing is like it is just a big MacGuffin thing. Like it's very simplistic, total. But while watching this, I thought one of you guys would bring this up. While watching this, guys, Michael Giacchino needs to direct Blade.
Yes, I was going to bring it up.
Wow, yeah.
Because
say that.
there's a part of me that made me wonder if they watched this and were like, this is his audition tape. Now, and there's a big difference between composing and this is one film for him, but like, I think that this is marvelous, no pun intended, marvelously directed. And it really does feel like his audition for that movie. And I think that what Marvel needs to do a better job of is making sure that there is a better directorial stamp on their films, their TV shows. Because really, WandaVision maybe, and Loki sure, but like She-Hulk, Falcon Winter Soldier, a lot of these shows, they just feel so processed and just like, run through a projector and like that's they're made. When you go back and watch the phase 1 of the MCU, Jon Favreau, Joe Johnston, Kenneth Branagh, Joss Whedon, they all had their stamps on those collective properties. Here, this felt different and refreshing. And while there may be an issue here, I think that they should use the reception to this as a template to make more specials and TV shows and movies going forward. And damn, I'm genuinely serious about this. He should fucking direct Blade. That would be a perfect choice based on what I saw here. Yeah.
And I think this is something to add on to your point. Like this is something where Marvel could take a lesson, like leave us wanting more versus overdoing it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
cause like I think probably for all four of us, we left them like, damn, I want to see more, a little bit more. But like that is such a better like sign off for a movie. Versus fuck, man, I just sat here for 2.5 hours watching like Christian Bale in Amsterdam. Like that is, or 2.5, or even more egregious, watching 2.5 hours of the Munsters. Like that is, I think, just such a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have much to add because you guys have really echoed a lot of my sentiments and loving. I really loved the way this looked, the idea of it. It was great. Jeff, also with you, like this needs to be something Marvel explores more. Like when you think about the origin movies we've gotten in the MCU, they're just movies. They're 90 minutes to 150 minutes tops. When you're doing these origin shows on Disney Plus, these are series and you're getting 4 hours with characters that are lower tier than, the Avengers characters that they've introduced. Like you can't expect the audience to be as invested and want that much content. I don't know. They obviously have like a quota that they're probably trying to get to in terms of hours of content.
They're short episodes too. They're very short episodes, these Marvel ones. Yeah. Like they don't carry a weight sometimes. And that's what kind of sucks. Not that everything needs to be the end with the Thanos snap, but like Jesus Christ, some of them it's like, oh my God, this could have been this meeting could have been an email. That's basically what the fuck. That's a sentiment for every Marvel show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just think I don't know what the limit is because like at what point are you just making a movie? But they're making movies anyway, making 4-hour long shows. Cut it down to an hour and a half, release it as maybe 2 parts, right? A 2-part Marvel special presentation.
Mm-hmm.
One the first half of the week, second half. You could have done that. Set up a She-Hulk, second half, Daredevil comes. Like that could have been done. I don't know. Some maybe it's deserved. Ironheart, for example. You're going to meet Ironheart in Wakanda forever.
Yeah.
That might be more justified, right? Like there are scenarios where a show makes sense, but I hope they take this and run.
I think Loki's a prime example of that too. And I was I didn't love it the way you guys did, but I acknowledge the way that story progressed.
Yeah.
Right.
You couldn't have fit that into an hour,
10 years of Loki, right? It's like you had so much Loki to go into, so it works. And that's why WandaVision, WandaVision was weird as fuck. But it worked because you're like, oh, I've known Wanda Maximoff for 8 years now.
Yeah.
So I can buy into this. And I'm not like it's kind of a weird thing to say because I feel like you could like checkerboard your way down to be like, okay, but don't you want to introduce new things? You can, but if you introduce new things in these like very short chunks, 25 minutes over the course of 8 weeks. And it feels like, I don't know, like focus and make it great as opposed to stretching it out and making it kind of a slog when you're introducing new characters. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I hope they take after this. This episode of Lights Camera Barstool brought to you by Rocket Money. Speaking of streaming services, you may be wasting money on streaming services. 80% of people have subscriptions they forget about. Could be unused Amazon Prime. Could be like me, pay for 2 Hulu accounts. Pro tip, you don't need 2.
Or some.
Did you do the bundle and then also get the Hulu?
No, not even.
Jesus.
There's no benefit to having 2 Hulu.
You can literally have one bundle and have Disney Plus and Hulu. And
Rocket Money is why I know. Rocket Money is why I found out. This fantastic app that I have used, no longer waste money on it. I don't need it right now, thank God. But Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, it'll help you show all your subscriptions in one place. Cancels what you don't want. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you didn't even know you're paying for. You can even find out you've been double charged maybe for a subscription. To cancel a subscription, all you have to do is press cancel. Rocket Money takes care of the rest. Cancel unnecessary subscriptions with Rocket Money today. Go to rocketmoney.com/lights. That's it. Save hundreds per year. rocketmoney.com/lights. All right. The 3 other big shows. We'll try to be about an hour. We'll try to condense here in the 30. House of the Dragon. I'll let Gooch and Kenjek, you start out. Thoughts on House of the Dragon?
Best episode yet,
man.
Yeah. I mean, it's the best episode yet.
We've been saying this like since they made the initial time jump and got away from the kids. Like in that first 5 episodes, it has gotten only better with every episode. Like it was like up and down roller coaster those first 5. This like it has been a straight up graph. Like you look at a graph, it's going bam straight up since they did this time jump. And this episode was so sick. So many great moments without spoiling, especially towards the end of it. And I think like something Game of Thrones has always been good at, and it's like really followed up into House of the Dragon, is like they do great at sort of table setting, very explosive moments that aren't like final, like that aren't climactic for the season, if that makes sense. Like there's so many moments in the last 3 episodes where it's like, holy shit, this feels like a good climax scene. And like, it's just part of a regular episode. And man, fucking acting chops in some of these people. Emma Darcy crushing it. Olivia Cook crushing it, man. They're so good. It's crazy.
This is Paddy Considine's best episode too. I mean, he was
crazy. That was
a corpse.
All the Viserys stuff was nuts.
Dude, he looks awful. He looks like Two-Face Harvey Dent.
What no pussy does to a motherfucker.
Dude. One of the nice little details, I don't know if you guys caught that. Somebody posted online. I'm not going to act like I originally noticed it, but when he's sitting on the throne and they're having the meeting on the legitimacy of, what is his name? Lucian, yeah. Yeah. The right side of his face is just torn to pieces. Looks terrible. But that's the side that the high towers are on. And then his Targaryen side is the healthy side where they're all sitting. I was like, geez, these little touches that HBO just knows how to throw in.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. And Matt Smith has completely turned the internet tides back in his favor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That first episode, everyone was like, I have to look at him. Good Lord. And now everyone just thinks he's hot. Thinks he's like the best character. He just shows up and just says
a face turn. He was like the biggest heel in the show, and he's basically had a face turn, even though he's still a bad guy. We're all rooting for Damon. It's crazy.
They don't even give Matt Smith lines. He just shows up on set and just says shit.
That's like the scene where Viserys' like crown falls.
Yes.
Like that was not scripted. Mm-hmm. That was not supposed to happen. It just fell just on accident. And then what's his name? Matt Smith like came and just like picked it up without like thinking about it, and they just like, oh, let's keep it in. It'll look cool. It's a great scene.
Dude, him laughing when they went to go do the prayer.
Yeah.
It kind of killed me.
Just it sets up perfectly. Obviously, so much of what was hated about last Game of Thrones is that it's obviously so many things to wrap up, and the way things didn't wrap up. I thought this wrapping up now going into another season, I thought it set the table perfectly for 2 more episodes too. Like if this had been the penultimate, that would have kind of been a bummer. Because like, you have a lot to wrap up here. There's a lot going to be going on in the next 2 episodes. I guess like if you haven't watched it, I would just kind of skip ahead. But Viserys showing up and just the vibe of like that family being strong, but the other side not. I love the imagery, like you said, with his face. The whole dinner scene was great. Just
he roasted them. That kid roasted them.
Strong fucking episode.
Strong. Was it a strong episode?
Yeah, it was a strong episode for sure.
Very strong.
It was really good. So yeah. shout out to them. I haven't looked ahead. I don't know how this ends, but I appreciated most of it feeling like it wasn't a setup episode, but they definitely set things up. Like the tables are set now for a war over what is obviously a misunderstanding, or an inability to speak properly and know what's going on. But I'm glad the tables are set with 2 episodes left. That's kind of my big takeaway.
As much credit as I loved giving them for nailing the young child actresses for Rhaenyra and Alicent, they have absolutely whiffed on the rest of them in terms of like, the age gaps. Like, backwards and forward on ages. Like, I don't know what they did with Aemond. Like, he went backwards in years.
Yeah, that's kind of nuts. He's younger than the younger brother. He like.
I don't know what's going on there with the aging that they're doing. It's like, it's very inconsistent across the board. It's not like it doesn't take me out of it, but it's like I do notice it. I'm like, wait,
dude, it stopped me in my tracks. I gotta admit, like when they first introduced the other son, that like we already were introduced to as an older person, like the older brother, and I'm like, he is now younger than the younger brother. What did we miss here? Like, he literally regressed, like you were saying. It really did fuck me up a little bit.
Alicent's dumbass thinking that Viserys is talking about her Aegon. That fucking creep. Oh,
what an asshole. And that's going to now fuck up the entire world.
Dude, she's going to fuck everything up because, she thinks her son is worth a dime. No.
Yeah. Both her kids stink. What a terrible mom.
I kind of like the eye patch guy. I kind of like
But he's like, you root against him, though. Like, he's a good character from like a certain enjoyability standpoint, but he's bad. He's an asshole. Like, both their kids suck.
Even Damon liked them. Like, Damon like was kind of like looking at him like, oh, this guy's like me.
Yeah, he's like, I would have done that.
Yeah.
The king is finally croaked, though. He's survived so many time jumps, but not anymore.
He's like Tony La Russa, just hanging on.
His just
He's like the meme. He's like, Jesus, why are you giving me your hardest battles? And Jesus is just like, how are you still alive? How are you still alive, dude?
Chris, did you come around to the show at all here as it wraps up?
I've come around to the idea that it's very, very well made. But it's one of those things. Like, talking about the show is like when you don't know the answer to a test in school and the teacher calls on you. It's like I have a hard time even really discussing it because I've the first 3 episodes, I'll be like, this is again my personal opinion, I thought it was a bad show just in terms of my enjoyment. I've come around to the fact that I think that it is a very well made show with movie level production quality and good actors. I love Olivia Cook. Not vibing with it. I guess it is going in the opposite direction, in my opinion, than Rings of Power. And we'll talk about that, and that'll be an interesting discussion. But from what I've watched, I do think like I see the appeal. Maybe not the appeal to me, but I'm not. Yeah, I would say I'm not as down on it as I was the first few episodes I watched. Yeah.
I mean, I get it, again, if it ain't your thing. It's a very hard show to like. I will say that. It's not like, you could maybe cut some corners and like it. Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, 2 episodes left of this season. Yeah. Lord of the Rings of Power, after a explosive, literally episode where Mordor is now being made, though they don't, again, spoiler alert, they don't say that till the end of this episode. A huge episode again. The fallout of Mordor being created. We open up with in the Southlands, which is now on fire, literally. Everything is ash and soot and orange. Looked fucking great. We find I didn't learn his name, and I never need to know his name now. Bumpus, whatever his name is, the friend of
Isildur?
The friend of Isildur. What the fuck? The little blonde kid.
No.
Yeah,
you don't even know his name.
Yeah, he croaked.
Dead. Gone. Goodbye. One of them was dying. He's dead. Lot of
surprisingly few amount of people died. Like,
Dunzo.
That looked like
the ones who died in like
event.
The initial reign of ash. Like they evaporated. Yeah. So Galadriel, everybody, Elendil, they're all trying to get out of there. It's mass chaos. It looked fucking great. Harfoots are back.
Okay, we did do a little bit. I want to know because you weren't here for the last one. I think that the Harfoots weren't terrible in the last episode where we got the little song from what's her name, Penny Pennerknuckle or whatever.
Right?
Maybe, I don't know, but we like that one.
I was here for the song. They weren't in the last episode, right?
Then that was 2 episodes ago. I liked them in that song. So their last appearance.
Yeah.
But this one, I mean, the Harfoots are just a dumb people. They're just not a smart little folks. They got tinier brains than the regular humans, and man, do they show it with their decision making.
The stranger, who we still don't know who is, like, what he is, he tries to. They're like, please, sir, heal the tree, and then he heals the fucking tree, and they kick him out because a branch fell.
Dude, these fucking idiots will not stop going up to him when he's doing his shit. Like he's cooking.
Leave him alone. Yeah.
Don't go near him.
We see that he does heal the tree. We then go back to Casa Doom. We see Durin and King Durin.
Elrond, yeah.
Earl Durin and Elrond.
Great.
Any scene with them, immaculate.
So good.
It's just
great chemistry right there.
There is something, and you know what? They've built up so well to the way those two interact that you buy. Like, I'm completely bought in on it. Everything feels so earned with them. They're begging, they're asking, and King Durin's like, "Nah, go fuck yourself. Like, you ain't."
And rightfully so. He's making the right call.
He is making the right call. And maybe that's hindsight because we know, but he's like, "Hey, buddy, get your fucking elf paws on out of here. You're not getting this shit from us." A nice scene with Durin and Disa as they try to figure out what they're going to do. They're very upset. Durin's incredibly sad. Basically, like, apologizing, saying, like, I'm sorry. Like, they've made so much progress, and everyone's like, look, it's not goodbye. You know, a nice emotional scene, and then they throws the mithril, and it heals the little leaf that was left on the table that they brought. That the elves brought over when Durin lied. They said we need a new fucking table, and they're like, "Shit, we got to help them. This stuff works." So eventually they do. Well, then we go back. We go back to the Southlands. We see kind of the fallout from there. We see the Queen, the Numenorian, I guess, Queen Regent. She is now blind.
Yep.
She's blind. We are supposed to think Isildur's dead. This is the problem. This is called the prequel problem. We know Isildur's not dead. That is a spoiler that I'm okay with saying. You can't get mad at that. You know Isildur is not dead. He's in the Lord of the Rings movies.
He's in the opening 5 minutes of the first movie. So
Theo and Galadriel have a bit of a buddy. I don't mind Theo this episode.
Definitely improved. An improved demeanor from that little brat, but I'm still very positive he's going to turn bad and in a bad way. You could say, because even when right before the waterfall, whatever, the dam breaks, like, he's trying to take out the fucking sword. He's trying to take the sword out of the thing. He's a bad guy. Theo's a bad guy. Just wait for it to come to fruition.
Cannot trust that haircut.
Never.
Smart Harfoot or whatever. He's not. He's an idiot too. The leader of the
old
Harfoot.
man.
Old man Harfoot. He shoos away. He's like, here's this is where you got to go. Get the fuck out of here. He shoos away the stranger.
Even talking to him.
He gets an apple. He leaves. They're like, here's one apple. See you later.
They try to act like they're such nice people, but they're just not.
We get some more Theo and Galadriel stuff. We get a scene very reminiscent of the Fellowship of the Ring when they're hiding underneath a tree and the orcs walk by. I like that they couldn't smell them because, like, you just smell like the ash, just smell the fire. So you get a nice scene there as they're trying to make their way back to meet up with the Numenorians in Elindo. We see Durin is digging too deep. They're digging in Casa Doom looking for the mithril, and which they do find. And as they find it, they find tons of it, just layers and layers deep down into the mines. King Durin is upon them, and he's like, "Get the fuck, like, seriously, dude, get out!" Kicks out Elrond thrown to the curb.
Puts him in jail.
Yeah, you get a great scene, fantastic scene between the two Durins, like really emotional. Yeah. Strips him of all of his honors. He's like, and he goes to bed. What is that thing? The thing he's wearing on his neck?
It's essentially like he disinherited him. He took away, like, it's like it would be the equivalent of like a signet ring, I guess. But like,
yeah, Durin says, like, to me, Elrond is
Yes,
Elrond
exactly like Michael
came
Crabtree.
from my mother's womb. Like that's how he views it. And King Durin's like, you piece of shit. And then he goes to pick it up.
Your mother's name? Like,
yeah.
come
Good
on.
He
ass
goes
line.
to pick it up, and he's like, don't pick that shit up. That's not yours anymore. That's not you. So really cool, powerful stuff there. We see that the healing of the tree worked. Oh, the Harfoots, all of a sudden, they're all peachy. They're all happy because they didn't have the patience to let the tree. The powerful wizard man was healing their tree, and they didn't give him 5 minutes to let it happen. And now they have all these crops and everything. But they come across, I don't know what to call them. What do we call them? These
Acolytes.
Yeah, these acolytes. They're there. They torch everything. The Harfoots confront them. They're looking for the stranger. They torch the whole camp.
And I was just sitting there. We're just sitting there like, hell yeah, burn it down.
That's what you get. Back at the Numenorian camp, they're far away now from the Southlands. Not that far away. They're like the Mordor, Mount Doom erupting has impacted a long way. We see that I forgot her. Bronwyn is alive. We see Arendir's alive.
She's got to be fucking dead by now. I'm sorry, dude. Like, she was on death's door at the end of that last episode, and then she got hit by a fucking volcano, and she's still alive. She's got to die. She's got to die. She has to die.
The Queen Regent, daughter of the king, she's daughter of the king, right? It's the one character I can't fucking keep straight.
Yeah, she's the Queen Regent. She's the daughter of the king. Something with an M. Fuck, forget.
She's now super blind. She's got the bandana around her eyes. Elendil's very upset because
dope look, by the way. Like, whenever a blind character has like that bandana on their eyes, it's cool as shit. It's dope look.
What's his face? Kanan Jarrus from Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah, see, great example.
Elendil's very upset, which I do like for the character. I like that he's really mad, and he needs to be the ally here for Galadriel, but he's lost Isildur, at least in his eyes. I like the Galadriel get this episode. I think people needed to have more patience with letting Galadriel become Galadriel. She's been pretty irrational and angry, but she seems to be kind of becoming more stoic and more like the one that we know from either the books or the movies, depending on what you like most. We see Halbrand is like half dead. He's recovering. He almost died. And then the episode ends. There's a lot more heavy stuff going on there. Durin and Disa talk a lot about their future, and then it ends with King Durin. He drops. I didn't know this, by the way. I must have missed it in the Comic-Con trailer. I knew it was coming, but I didn't see the tease. He drops the leaf, and it goes all the way down through the mines and the caves, passes all the Mithril, and it wakes up the Balrog, which is obviously why that mine they're all dead in Lord of the Rings. Because they dug too deep, and that's when the Balrog comes out and fights Gandalf. So a cool tease there. I mean, it's right there. It's very on the nose.
That Balrog's name is literally Durin's Bane. Like, that's his name. He's like, I killed Durin. That's the dude's name. Like,
pretty fucking cool. And then even more on the nose reveal is they show the Southlands. He's like, this is no longer the Southlands, and the title goes from Southlands to Mordor. Lord of the Rings.
I like that he didn't say it. I like that he didn't.
I do. I like it didn't say it as well. Nerd of the Rings made a great comment, though. I kind of wish they would have changed it on the map. Like, the map's been such a prominent thing in the show. Would have been nice to see it on the map. But I liked it. It's following up an absolute dynamite episode. And I thought this episode was very solid as well. That's your little recap. If you needed a recap. Ken, Jack, overall thoughts?
I thought it was a solid one. Tough to match up with what happened in the last one. But yeah, I don't know. I think overall pretty good one. I need more stuff to happen, I think, and that's something that lacked in the middle episodes before the volcano. But yeah, I don't know where they go from here, especially since we need to wrap up in this next episode. I would imagine, based on the ending of this last one, that Halbrand is Sauron. He was off my radar completely 2 episodes ago, all the way back on my radar. He's gonna be Sauron. He's bringing him over to the elves, which that was another crazy thing. He's heavily injured. And they have him riding horseback to fucking Aragon. Like, that is, you would die. You would literally, you would be dead meat. And they have him on horseback. But yeah, he is big on the Sauron sus list right
now. My turn.
No, Gooch, go ahead, because I feel like you didn't like it. Go ahead, Gooch.
I liked it quite a bit. I mean, this is, if you've stuck around, if you stuck along for the ride, I think you have been heavily rewarded for it. in terms of people who complain maybe it was a little slow at the beginning, because it's definitely picked up and the storylines have interwoven now, and you're not jumping from place to place. And I think it's been a huge benefactor to just like the overall, like I can sit through like an hour and 15. I could do another hour of this. Like it's just much more, the pacing is much easier to follow now that we have multiple people in the same places. The Harfoots, I just can't get behind them. And I'll tell you what, it killed me when I realized that they're going on an adventure and we're just going to get more of them. Like I was really hoping the stranger would depart and we just follow him, and the Harfoots, you know, we maybe go back to them twice next season, but it's looking like we're going to get a heavy dose of, I don't even know what their names are. Terrible.
And we get Nori and Dory or something.
They're clearly trying to play off the fellowship vibes of the four hobbits wandering to wherever to meet Dumbledore. But yeah, no, very fun show. I mean, and we've brought this up a million times now. The show just looks so fucking good.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It's better than a lot of movies that come out, like high budget movies. Like it looks fantastic. And I think they just started. Did they just start production on season 2? Is that what it was?
Yes, so they just started last week.
I really hope this. I think Amazon they'll keep paying for these seasons, whether it has popularity or not, to be honest. But I hope the popularity does pick up in the off season. Once, you know, Game of Thrones is off television or House of the Dragon's off television, more people convert their eyes over there because it's great. No, I like it a lot.
When you guys watch this show, and I genuinely, like, this is an honest question. Do you take notes?
No.
That is fucking amazing to me. And I mean that.
Yeah, but how? Wait, did you do your rewatch of Lord of the Rings?
Not entirely. No.
See, I don't think you can watch this show if you've not watched. But I don't think it's intended.
I remember enough of the series, but like okay, that's fair. And I think from a nostalgic standpoint, I get that. But like
when you hear Cause of Doom, like in those things, like does that ring any bell?
I don't remember hearing that.
See, like, that's what's gonna kill you there, because like I think you need to be not well versed. You need to have watched it recently. I think you gotta, like, it's not meant to be the Mando of Lord of the Rings, where you don't need to watch Star Wars to really fall in love with it. I think you gotta watch you gotta watch it. Yeah, I think that's how it is.
I will. That's also, you know, you have to admit I will. But you have to admit that is a big commitment. I mean, it's about 12 hours.
It's an 8-hour task, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like a movie there. It's like, it's one of those things. It's not because you said, Jeff, that you think I dislike it. I don't dislike it. It's not a matter of dislike. It's a matter of confusion. Every episode I watch, I have to refresh myself. Who's that? What do they do? Who are they fighting? I know there's orcs and there was a volcano. But I really think that when it comes to fantasy, and I'm not entirely remembering everything that happened in the Lord of the Rings movies, but I remember that narrative being very streamlined. Like you had the hobbits on one journey, you had Aragorn on one, you had Gandalf, and it all kind of converged near the end. Here, it's every time I feel like I'm figuring out what's going on, it cuts back to another character. You weren't here last week, Jeff, but that's my big complaint here is I just think there's just too much shit going on. And this is, look, full disclosure, I'm not smart and I have a shitty attention span. Okay. Like unless it's numbers on a baseball reference page, I'm really bad with this shit. It's like this with House of the Dragon too, where I'm not telling people it's a bad show. I think people get this impression that I view this stuff as terrible, poorly made, poorly produced. That's not the case. I'm with you, Gooch. This thing looks fucking incredible. This thing looks better every episode than Thor: Love and Thunder. The green screen is better. The production value is better. I would say the actors are taking this thing more seriously. It's a frustrating watch because I'm just goddamn confused the entire time. And that falls on me. That's why I'm going last.
I truly think if you did a full rewatch, I think you'd watch it and maybe not be an expert on it, but I think you'd go, oh, like, I just think, I think you have to.
But would you argue that that's kind of a detriment towards the show? Because you bring up Mandalorian, which is a Star Wars property that exists beyond anything Star Wars related. But I mean, I think you can watch the Star Wars prequels without seeing the originals, and except for Phantom Menace, because that movie.
But that's maybe.
I think you could understand at least the basic plot structure and what's going on. I don't think you can do that here.
Really, I think you can understand the plot structure. I think it's fair. I think like the basics you can understand. Like if you don't know the Jedi and stuff, like I think the prequel stuff are kind of that. The prequels are also way more handholdy because they're intended for a significantly younger audience. Where I don't think that is absolutely not the case with Rings of Power.
I would agree with you there. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where
I think there's an obvious intention to not be just for everybody here.
Okay,
Probably how they won the pitch, honestly. Like, to be honest, that's like the Tolkien estate probably appreciated that pitch as like, this is going to be very Tolkien heavy. Like, this is not going to deviate and handhold. But I do agree, Chris. I don't think accessibility is the most important thing or even a top 5 important thing, but there is a level of, you're spending this much money on a TV show. You want people to watch. You want to bring in new viewers to the universe. Mm-hmm. I think there should have been a little. It could have been more accessible towards.
That's fair,
right?
But I don't think that was their. I think maybe.
I don't think they tried. I don't think they were trying to do that. Yeah. No,
so you could call that fucking batshit insane. That they paid this much money, the most ever, and made something that's intended for the fans. But I think the intention is there, so I'm not going to fault it on that. Where I think Mando, there was a clear intention to get new fans.
Yes, because that was the first. And that's fair. Yeah,
it's not like a good entry point for Lord of the Rings, if that makes sense. And like again, we're saying like it's not like it's definitely not intended to be that way, and like that's the way it was built or whatever. But like I would say like if you were talking to someone and you were like, yeah, like you should watch Rings of Power, and they're like, oh, I've never watched anything. Should I watch this? I'd probably be like, well, probably not then. Like you should probably watch Lord of the Rings first because like that'll gauge if you're into it. It'll help establish shit more, and like it's definitely more sort of looking for expositional than the show is. So it's just not great for anyone that's like a rookie to this thing.
Chris, I'll give you my Audible login. That way you can listen to Andy Serkis read The Hobbit while you go to sleep. It'll just seep into your brain.
Andrew, by the way.
Oh yeah, Andrew Serkis.
Yeah.
Quick questions here. Spooka de Beppo says, "What do you think? What do you think? You guys think the Southlanders end up doing? Do they form part of the Kingdom of Gondor? And when that happens, or do they move on to the White Mountains to become the eventual army of the dead?" I mean, I don't want to answer this if it gets too. I don't actually know.
I think I'm leaning towards the army of the dead. I think that'd be cool.
Geographically, it doesn't make sense, but like they were also on the move, so like shit, maybe I don't know.
Shane likes hockey season says, who the fuck do they reveal as Sauron this Thursday? I think
Halbrand is still on the sus list right now.
Cotton Eye Giuseppe said, what if they don't reveal? I think they don't reveal, and I actually would rather they don't. There's another season.
Yeah. Really?
I don't need to know yet. I know there's another season.
I kind of want just one shot, like Thanos at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, just one shot.
Yeah. Okay.
One shot.
Yeah. All right.
You don't even have to tell me who it is, but give me just a shot of Sauron. He could take many forms, so he could be in a Sauron form, and you could be like, well, was that Halbrand? Was it, oh. Yeah,
that's fair.
But it'd be tough. It'd be tough no Sauron, because it's like, God, got so many references to him so far.
Yeah. That's that. And then finally, before we do our reviews here, Andor episode 5 of season 1, the second of what is probably a 3-episode arc. The third arc in this episode, the third episode of this arc is obviously going to be fairly explosive. They're about to go do some old heisting. The axe forgets the title of the episode. That's the thing we hear the whole episode is
that's a cool ass line by
the tree remembers. Yeah, by
Cuzzo. I love that actor. Rocks, man.
I did. Chris, we talked about this the other day.
Yeah,
I know you're not vibe with it. You just coming in, you just saying like patience and like attention span for you kills you. That I can see you not loving the show.
Yes.
It's a very slow show. It is. Man, do I fucking love this show though. This show fucking update from the boss man, by the way, at Barstool. Dave fucking loves it. The baby Yoda man himself. He's like, hey, by the way, it's like I fucking love Andor. There's just something about this show that like it's in Elf when Miles Finch he's like talking about the book. He goes, because I just have this idea that I'm like, yes, like that's how I feel about this fucking show. Almost every scene, like this show just fires me the fuck up because it dives into things about the Star Wars universe that you care about, that you want. Like, I just want to know more about. I want to know more about the ISB meetings. I want to know like it, but they do it in a way that's not like boring to me, boring, lame, like cringy, weird shit from the prequels, right? Like it's the little stuff that we dive into in Rebels and in Clone Wars. It's those things that I love to see. I love them being like the ISB officer who goes, there's no proof fully, but if I were them and I was rebelling, this is how I would do it. So, shit like that. Like
Gooch
that.
Mentioned this on Gooch mentioned this on Friday, how it was really awesome how they're like sort of developing that character, that blonde ISB agent, and this whole character you're almost kind of like not rooting for, but like you are on her side and you feel like an empathy to her and you want her to succeed, right? Right, that's what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, just the way even they're delivering that character, she's not just like evil bad guy, like I'm gonna find the rebel. She's like doing it in a much more patient and like detective way, and that like spy way, and espionage, like that is fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, it feels like a real show, and I don't want to shit on shit on Kenobi and Obi-Wan. They just don't. They're not shows in the way that like shows get nominated shows. Like the Andor feels like a show that Emmys come up next year. This could be something that gets tossed around. Like, I mean, this is well made. Like, you could not know anything about the Star Wars universe, watch this and be invested because the dialogue is opened up so much with the length of episodes, the way they're delivering it, that you actually have time to build these characters. Like I'm like Ebon Moss, the cousin, like he's doing up his scenes. Like the stuff, like the idea of rebellion and all these people are rebelling in their own way, not just like we hate the Empire. They all have their own reasons for doing it. Like that is very interesting to me. And it makes the show much more enjoyable.
I think if you were to strip Star Wars from this show and like just set it in modern day, like it would still be a show that people liked and were very much interested in, like in the same vein as like a Homeland or whatever. And that's not something you could really say about a show like Kenobi. It's definitely something you'd say about a show like Mandalorian because it's like justified basically. But like there's something very special about the way that they put this show together, and that like you were saying before, the dialogue is so cool. The sort of espionage element of it is just well beyond anything that Star Wars has really tried to do in that realm before. And it's just like human, you know what I mean? There's no people lifting shit with the fucking Force. There's no lightsabers, there's no any of that shit. It's just like a group of dudes on a mission. Like that's sort of like, I think very appealing to me, getting away from that whole Skywalker saga stuff, getting away from the Jedi, getting away from all that stuff. And like, that's something where I think Mando obviously went in the opposite direction, but like, I really like this. I like it being grounded a lot.
It's a good show. I mean, I think that probably when we talked about it, Jeff, at HQ, I probably came across a little bit more down than I should have been. It is extremely well made. I mean, in terms of just hitting the beats it needs to hit, it is, I mean, so much better than Boba Fett. It's so much better than Obi-Wan. I mean, I think that everyone here will agree with it. But Kenjack, you just brought up the one issue that I have here, where you say, and it's what you used it as a compliment, and I use it as a detriment, where you said it's not people lifting shit with the Force. It's not people using lightsabers. It's not the Jedi. To me, that's the stuff that makes Star Wars fucking interesting. I don't need like that's what I get intrigued by. I don't like so that's what has bothered me about this series. And again, you know, and I'm being a fucking cunt today. I acknowledge.
I mean, I would argue the least lightsabery stuff, and now granted they lift shit. The least lightsabery stuff in the original trilogy is probably the best one. Is Empire Strikes Back.
But you still have space battles and a great fight at the end, and Luke and great characters, and Luke meeting Yoda, and the Hoth battle. Like, I don't find people sitting in a boardroom or whatever happened in this fucking show talking about, you know, ADT security, which is essentially what they were doing for 20 minutes. I didn't find that intriguing or interesting. You guys, other people do that. You're not wrong for that. I acknowledge it. It's just the way I view Star Wars, I think, is differently than the way other people view Star Wars. Mandalorian is a great show because those characters are great, but Mandalorian is also cool. Like the don't mean to rhyme, the lore of Mandalore and those characters and where they come from, I find so incredibly intriguing and interesting. I think that this is a very well acted show, very well written, and it's gotten, for the record, I don't dislike it. It's gotten way better to me as since it's gone on, and I think it's going to be much like the first season of Mando as well. I think it's going to actually stick the landing. I'm going to end up liking this quite a bit near the end. It's just the biggest detriment is I'm just not that interested in Star Wars right now. That's just my thing.
Chris, I got two friends that I talked to about this show. They actually feel the same way as you. They're missing the what you call the Star Wars element of having the sabers and everything. So
I would say though, like you talk about space battles, that's not lightsabers. Like that stuff, you kind of had that already in the first. I mean, I think if you look at it though as a whole product, that's different because you're about to get a heist.
Right.
You're about to get. This is more along the lines of Mando. Mando doesn't have any of that shit. Now it does, obviously, but initially it didn't. Yeah. You had a battle at the end of the first. I mean, the third episode of the show was some of the best Star Wars stuff I've ever seen. Like just when Fiona Shaw's character says like when the noise stops, that's when you should be like, that whole scene was fucking unreal. And I think you're gonna get that again next episode. That's fair. If that's your type of Star Wars, like I can't fault you on that at all. At all. But I think viewing it as a whole product though is kind of where, and that's why maybe releasing the show in like 4 90-minute chunks maybe it will end up being the better move. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's sort of two sides to Star Wars where like there's like the power of myth stuff like John Campbell type thing where it's like you get attached to the savior complex stuff and sort of like that internal myth and like the special sort of world that they build around it, right? But I think that like if they were to start the franchise of Star Wars with Andor, it wouldn't take off. Like you need something with the pop, you need the Force, you need Jedi, you need lightsabers. I think that part of this world is so very well established through those the original trilogy, sequel trilogy, the fucking prequel trilogy, like all that stuff. And I think that there's enough room to grow outside of it. And I think we saw that to a degree with Rogue One. But to your point, like obviously like the best part of that movie is when Darth Vader comes out and kills everybody. Yeah. But like I think that everything outside of that was like it's the grounded human element is something where we don't really get that. And that's almost like in the same realm as like we were just talking about with Werewolf by Night. There's not a fucking superhero in that. There's no like good versus evil sort of like classical power myth stuff. It's just like a fucking different. And I think that's something that is a big strength of the show. I will admit to you that the security shit is like, I've grown tired of it. Like the whole back and forth between the fucking bitch son and his mom, his asshole mom. Like that was ridiculous. That is you cut that on the editing floor. That is not necessary. And I know it's going to be like important later or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
the uncle,
you can leave that.
He's got an important uncle.
You leave that for 1 3-4 minute scene, and then you come back to it in the next.
You probably could have just done the first. I'll give you that. You probably could have done just the first one with the cereal. Which, by the way, anytime you show people eating food in Star Wars, that'll get
the blue milk. Look nice, look good, look tasty. I gotta be honest, that cereal looked great.
They just never ate enough food in Star Wars, the original movies.
No, they never did.
I do love the Imperial stuff though at like the base on the planet where they all are right now, like kind of the back and forth, just seeing like the different sides of like. I don't know, just diving more into it. And you saw that's why one of the best scenes. Oh man, one of the best Mando scenes in the first 2 seasons was the Bill Burr scene when he's going back and forth.
Yes.
And there's like, he's like, I want that's I forget exactly what he said. But he's talking about like it's like we lost a lot of good people, but yeah, that's what we had to be done. And then Bill Burr fucking kills him. Like that shit, man. That fucking rules. Yep. Do I want that in the movies? I don't know. When I only have an hour and a half, 2 hours, but like this stuff where you can dive deeper. But the key is, you said it, Gooch. It's like it's well written, right? Like it's very well written. It's put together nicely as a story, and it doesn't feel like they're trying to do too much shit to just please people, which is what Obi-Wan felt like. Again, and it also I don't want to make every time we talk about Andor talk about the look and the writing, everything, but it also doesn't look like fucking cheap as hell like Obi-Wan did, which is really nice.
Yeah, it has a much clearer.
Jesus fucking Christ!
It has a much clearer directorial vision. Like,
I actually liked a fair amount of Obi-Wan, but the one thing I won't defend is the look of it. It looked so cheap.
Yeah.
Like stunningly cheap.
And the moments in Obi-Wan are not earned, and the moments in the show, I believe, are earned. Like they are building this up and they're making you invested, and they're kind of like giving you a reason to root for this character. The only reason we're rooting for Obi-Wan is because Obi-Wan. And like the goodwill that they earn for that show, or if you want to call it earning, is just getting Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor back, and that's it. And that's all the only directive they seem to have in that show.
So that's Andor. Episode comes out Friday, so we're kind of wrapping up on a bunch of these things. Curious what we're going to move on to next. Game of Thrones and Andor are going to kind of it'll go Rings of Power, Game of Thrones, then Andor. In terms of
a lot of good anime coming out this month. We can do some anime breakdowns.
We're gonna talk about anime in a minute with the Munsters. You're not gonna believe where I'm gonna get to on that one. Wait till that. Talk about that fucking tease. David Boreanaz interview, and then we're going to break down these two movies in our final half hour of this podcast. Here we go.
All right. We have in studio, dressed in very nice all black getup. We've been outclassed today by
the man in black today. Yeah. Yeah. A little bit of, yeah. You just need a good cowboy hat. You need like a black cowboy hat to fit this off. Yeah.
Sure. We could do that.
You have very Taylor Sheridan, like Yellowstone vibes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Dave Boreanaz, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I've always been, loved to always want to come into this building. It's very impressive. Just we were chatting earlier about like there was a den. I call them dens. There's little dens, accurate. Right? Yeah. Extensive dens of people that were very quiet on their computer. And then I just walked and stood there and I absorbed the energy and I just said, you guys are either very happy that the Giants won, or very happy or happier that the Eagles are 4-0.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's a Chargers fan.
I'm a Chargers fan, as you can see, but I respect that.
We actually have.
Can you tell my team lost yesterday? Yeah, Browns. Jets won yesterday.
We lost to Atlanta.
Yeah.
We actually, our coworker
awesome. He's a fucking Bengals fan.
Hey, at least you got the whiteout uniform. You got that going for you this year, but I don't know if you're going to go any further. I'm so sorry, man.
As long as the Browns are bad and the Ravens are hurt, I think we have a shot.
There you go. Hey, all right. I respect
One of our coworkers that sits across from us is an Eagles fan. He actually went to your high school. And
Malvern.
Okay. Yeah, and we were like, we're interviewing Dave Boreanaz later, and I was like, oh, we went to the same high school. You got to sneak in a question. I'm like, I don't know what question.
I went to Malvern Prep, and I graduated in '87, and one of the kids that was in my class was he was an Oppenheimer, and that was the guy. His grandfather was the guy who invented nuclear bomb.
Holy shit! That's.
I remember being in class and my friend Robert Hinkle's like, dude, that's Oppenheimer. It was my freshman year. I'm like, who the hell's fucking Oppenheimer? Dude? He's like, dude, invented the fucking atomic bomb, dude.
Bring your family to work. It was wild.
On top of his head, it was an explosion going. It's like fucking weird.
We will talk. We're gonna talk football in a little bit for sure.
Okay.
But SEAL Team season 6, which I gotta say, maybe it's because time moves so fast. Like I think it's crazy. You guys are up to 6 seasons already on this show. Like, that's got to be nuts.
Yeah, I mean, we started out at CBS on the network, and then we made our switch over last year to Paramount Plus, to a streaming format, which has been extraordinary for us and the cast and the crew and the show itself, just to benefit from kind of like a rebirth for us. CBS was great in the studio. It just didn't fit I don't think it fit the mold for our show, the type of show that it is and how we present it and shoot it. And it doesn't have that kind of, I don't know, CBS look to it,
sure.
And moving over to Paramount Plus, we're able to take the show and change it up into a look that is just deeper, darker, larger, more gravitas towards the storytelling. And, but we just wrapped season 6. We were in Jordan shooting for a whole month, which was crazy. And the experiences I've had on this show, working with the real guys, right, SEAL Team guys, the Dev Crew guys, has been pretty remarkable. Their stories, where they came from, who they're all about, and moving over now to this platform has allowed us to tell stories that are just way deep. And when I say way deep, I just mean you get a little bit more darker with the content. You can study it a little bit more.
You mentioned brutality. I saw in an interview too, like a little more. Yeah,
it's brutal. Did you what you said? Brutality?
Yeah, you mentioned you.
Yes,
you used
I
that word
did.
A
Yeah,
times
it's a very, Navy SEALs, the special op guys, are a very unique set of skills that you need and to possess to get through buds and then go on another year to train. And they're just a very wired differently, and when they come back from missions or operations, or they finish with their jobs and they're back home, they got to deal with PTS, TBI, internal damage, man, that can really work their minds. And the suicide rate's up huge with special ops right now. So they're very good at, I would say, hiding their depression, and they mask it, and anything can trip them off. But they're a great group of individuals, and what we've exceeded with the show has been fantastic. To use their wealth of storytelling, their experiences and apply it to the show has been great for us.
You do mention that there's 2 former SEALs on the writing staff, right? And there's a whole bunch of your crew is like mostly veterans, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
How important was that level of like authenticity for you guys? Because obviously you do something like SEALs and you do it fake, people are going to notice like pretty quickly.
Yeah, you do. I mean, that was the thing for us when we first premiered. Like, oh, it's going to be a Navy SEALs show. It's just going to be a lot of action and.
You think it's going to be like the Charlie Sheen Navy SEALs or whatever. That movie.
Coming out of the water with the cigar still lit and with the paint on. Yeah.
Yep.
Which, by the way, was a platoon that was or you think of he did do a Navy.
He
SEALs.
did. It was him and I think Emilio. I forget who else. I watched it on TBS.
You
like
did, right? You're like, what is going on? Yeah, but we bring the heat, man. We bring the authenticity to the characters. There's a balance between it because it really isn't about the action, which we have, but it's really about what they go through and their mental capacity to how they can handle that stress and that what goes along with that job. And that to us is the real exciting part. And we've, the whole cast has really bought into that and we're excited to keep doing it.
There's a lot of like myth around Navy SEAls. I feel like they're almost like in people's brains like, oh, this is like the Spartans or something, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. But how do you sort of humanize them to people, if that makes sense?
Well, again, you humanize it by really diving into the darker aspects. You lean into the struggles that they have. You lean into who they are as people. You lean into how they're treated when they come back home. It's definitely not enough done for our veterans, I feel, but that you lean into those corners, right? And instead of going to the other side of it. And I think that's where we find the humanity in it. And that's really the beauty of our show.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the moving over to streaming, and you mentioned like what this opens up for you. Is that kind of when you think about it in the bigger picture, because you've been in TV for a while now, like, is that crazy to think about that you just said to us moving off network is a benefit, but we're in that era now where like it can be, but that it's kind of crazy that we're at that point.
We are, and it's across the board. Like, listen, there's so many outlets out there today, so many channels. There's so many different ways that you can go about it. Create a show, put a show on. Network television, I love network television for what it is. It's just changed. And, they're either going to absorb that change, create with it, or they're going to become a different entity of what people want to tune into.
Sure.
So for our show, it worked. I don't think for other shows it may or may not work. It just depends. But for ours, it worked because of the level of intensity, just what we could do more with it. But it is, in today's world, you say, wow, streaming really is taking over. I mean, I look at what my son watches, right? He watches Netflix, man. He streams. Like, no one's going to be like, hey, I'm tuning into NBC to watch a show at 8 p.m. You know what I'm saying? Back 10 years ago, it was a whole different story, right? You know, ad dollars are huge, and that's really what runs Madison Avenue, runs all of us, right? Mm-hmm. But different world, different time. But, yeah, it's taken over.
That had to be nice on network though, right? When you had like Jim Nantz saying your name and,
like
and
over and over.
I know that's like twice a year as an Eagles fan. You're on CBS. You're usually on the other network for Eagles, but that's I need Eagle Kevin like Boreanaz SEAL team.
Yeah, too. It airs tonight at CBS, right? Yeah. An all new SEAL team. Now you're like, okay, it was kind of cool. Yeah, I remember when we had shot the pilot and the show got picked up 6 years ago, and we were staying at the hotel, and Jim Nantz was at the same hotel. CBS puts you up at like the hotel, and he was talking to the other guy who's the quarterback, Tony Romo, right? Who was his first year. So Jim is like sitting there holding court with Tony, like, hey, this is how it's done. Like, I went over and said hello to him, really nice guy. This is how they do it. They pick pilots, and they come out and they present their new shows, and it's like, hey, it's like Jim Nantz. There's David Boreanaz, Tony from SEAL team. It's like, there I am, like with, I don't know, vodka soda in my hand, like, hey, but Jim Nantz, man, Tony Romo, you play for the Cowboys, man. Like, can I just get in some dish here?
Luckily, there's nothing too confusing, like terminology-wise, with SEAL Team, because, like, just on last Thursday Night Football, Al Michaels was doing ads for Lord of the Rings.
It's so weird.
He doesn't know what an orc is, so he goes, Gil-galad fighting the ORC Army. Like, he thought it was like an acronym for something. Like,
it is. When watching football on Amazon Prime was a little strange.
Yeah, definitely weird. They need a better logo. Right? They need their logo stinks. They need
you accidentally click out of it, and you're buying something. Yeah, it's odd.
I don't know, man. Well, I'm sure Barstool will have its own football, and I don't know.
We have our own bowl game.
One day, man.
We didn't have it last year because of
serious.
COVID. But we have our
Okay.
own bowl game.
Okay,
Yeah.
very cool, man.
The MAC versus the Mountain West Conference.
Got a mini basketball tournament too. Yeah,
Yeah, we have a basketball tournament at Wells Fargo
Yeah,
in
that's
Philly.
Fantastic. That's so great,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
That's
shit.
great.
It's kind of been going crazy. Was it? And one thing I saw with this season, you're obviously on season 6. Was it a whiff not just calling it SEAL Team 6?
You know what?
Or
It's
is it a
not
thought?
called. It's people. It is SEAL Teams, not SEAL Team 6.
Yeah.
So people sometimes mistakenly say SEAL Team 6. You know, no, it's just SEAL Team. When the show came out, it was like, what are we going to call the show? Like Dev Grew, SEAL Team, Hayes. You know, we didn't really kind of know how to go about it. And I was talking to somebody last week about this, like, oh man, you've been on successful shows and you've done this. I said, maybe it's just because they're weird names. Like Bones was like, what's weird? It's like, I don't want, like when that premiere, people are like, Bones? What is that about? Like, why am I watching something about bones, man? It's weird. So maybe weird names fit, but no, SEAL Team is a straight up name. Yeah.
I thought just for season 6 only, they might be like, hey, let's
Maybe,
flip,
yeah,
but
SEAL Team
yeah.
6, or no, it's SEAL Team Season 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that's
I do like we again talk about society and culture. It's like the straightforward title. It's like getting
Yeah.
creative is fun, but
Yeah.
at this point, like you said, it's like this day and age, you kind of just have to just say what it is.
Say what it is and then prove it. You know, like I think that the challenge with so many shows that come out in the beginning of the year and football's and they're advertising the hell out of it, all these new shows on the network and whatnot, you have to bring it. Like the pilot is one thing because they spend a lot of money on it, looks great, and then you get the pickup. It's like, okay, show 2, show 3 and 4. You have a lower budget, you know, you have less hours to shoot it. You have you may have a director that's not really working well with the guys. You have problems with the cat. Like it starts to get daunting. You know, the honeymoon period's over, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, yeah, we got to sustain this. You got to lead the show. So, you know, it's weird. I say we've been doing this for 6 seasons. It is strange. It really is bizarre to me. There's a lot going on 6 years ago,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
man? And you look back and you go, wow, shit, man. Life really has changed in 6 years.
We talk about that a lot with actors, with just as far as like TV versus movies, because like if you make a bad movie, whatever, like you throw it out there and it's done. But with TV,
Man, I've done it before. Bad films, man. You get screwed, man. You're like, they put you on the freaking cover of it and they market the hell out of it. And then you're like, that wasn't my movie. but it went bad. It went right to video. That's not my movie.
but at
man.
least like the benefit with it is like you get paid for that and it's done. But with a show, you need to maintain it and like you need to be consistently good in order to get renewed over and over. And I'm sure
course.
like there is a level of like apprehension or anxiety to that where it's like,
It's all anxiety, man. You got to know, like, the show could be over very fast. You know, you got to stay in the now, work the characters, work the storylines, make sure the arcs are clean, and when they fit. You know, our show is fast. It's very documentary style. People that have come on our show, it's like, well, where are the marks? We don't have marks. Oh, well, what's happening now? We're just going to shove a camera in your face and we're going to act. You know, we're going to do this scene that's like 2.5, 3 pages long and you got dialogue and if we're fighting, you just go, man. If you're in the middle of a scene, you're going to be seen. You just go. It's high tempo. It really is. It's orchestrated well from a sports metaphor kind of thing. It's like hockey, right? You're just out there and you're playing. You don't know what's going to hit you, but you got to keep your eyes up and you got to do your thing, man. So the instincts have got to be spot on, but it's a fun show. It's fast, man.
SEAL Team, Paramount Plus, season 6. I laughed because we like to make sure we're not asking the same question. You got to maybe like a press tour or anything, and I'm like, all right, let's see how many times did he get the Buffy and Angel question? And you gave a great answer. And
Throw it down, man. I'm an open book. Go ahead.
You did give a good answer. One of them, you're like, I live in the now. You're like, I don't like. I'm focused.
Listen. That's the presentation. Like, you know, it's funny. Like Aaron Rodgers was talking about, you know, plant medicine, doing ayahuasca. I was blessed. I did plant medicine. I loved it, man. I had a great experience back in May, and it was extraordinary for me. You know, I totally am for it, 100%, man. I'm like, I get it. I totally understand it. When I say like, hey, be in the now, it's like, it makes complete sense to me, man. It's like the ego is balanced with the heart. It's a whole thing, man. And it's hard to kind of explain to people who haven't done that. And I'm not here to push it on anyone. I'm just here to like, I got it, man.
It like has like, what's the levels of, is it a, maybe it's different before something like that where you're like living in the now. Because, for example, we just had an interview an hour ago with Jacob Batalon, who's Spider-Man.
Okay.
And we're huge Marvel fans. And like, he wasn't here promoting that.
Yeah.
But we were obviously going to talk to him about
Of course.
that. Now,
Yeah, no, I get it.
Buffy and Angel
Yeah.
watch, but we're not like super fans of that. But you may, I don't know,
How can you not
tomorrow.
be super fans of Buffy, man?
That was a show.
I mean,
my
rappers
parents-
are singing about it now, man. My son is like, Dad, he sent me some music from someone top artist. Like, dude, they're talking about Buffy, man. It's awesome. I'm like, great show, a lot of fun. We were doing stuff that was like when we were rappelling high from skyscrapers. My stunt dude we were whipping out of buildings, attached to a chair on a wire. Like we were doing stuff that was
Probably not OSHA.
but it was like it was just so like, we're not going to be in front of a green screen, which we did a lot of green screen stuff. We did, but it was like, we're going to do the stunt. We're going to go do it. We're going to do a rappel off of a high rise.
Yeah.
And you're going to come, your stunt double is going to come streaming down. Then we're going to stop him right before, it's pretty impressive stuff that we did on that show. And it was a hard show. I mean, Angel was hard. I mean, that was like, all we do shoot nights. Dude, Friday night came around and it was like, we're done. It's 5:30, sun's coming up. When I was on that show, I was like, all right, then we're going to go to the bar.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to go to my friend's bar that he owned, right?
Yeah.
Great guy who was on the show. And I was like, okay, we stay there. And then you get up, walk out the doors. It's 10 a.m.
Yep.
And then you got to be up Monday morning for a 7 a.m. call. It's like, okay, so let me balance that out. Sleep all day Saturday, get ready to crack the bottle again up on Saturday night, and then move into Sunday, and then like repair and recover and get ready to be up at 7 a.m. to shoot the damn thing again.
Because it's like, I love this. Like, obviously, we were going to obviously ask about it. Like, these are things, and Ken Jackson asked too about like the vampire craze. But like for us, I love hearing about the stunts and like the day to day. But then you got to get other ones interviews where it's people who are super into the lore, and they're like, where the fuck is the revival? Does that ever get
want
you
it?
Or you want sometimes like,
time.
oh fuck, like
No, it's fine. It doesn't. It's something that you're like, hey, God, you were great on Buffy. Oh, you were a vampire. You were great on Angel. You were in Bones. You're like, Sealy Booth, man. Like, oh, SEAL Team. That guy from SEAL Team. It's like it's gotten a quite interesting palette for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go do Comic-Con on Friday at the Javits Center, and what's interesting about the fans, that they're so committed to it, man.
Yeah.
They dress up like Angel. They dress up. They got their stakes. They got their That's all more power to them. Do whatever you want to do. It's great as long as you're responsible with it. It's fine. But the intensity of it, it's great, man. It's a trip to go back in time to see, where you were shooting that show, right, and what you were doing. It is a trip, and when I say trip, it's a trip back in time to say, hey, I've enjoyed some of those moments and had a great time working on that show. But yeah, the fans they're definitely the cult fans, man. They're different.
Why do you think people get kind of like drawn into vamps too? Because I would say that like vampires, especially like your show, I would say almost kind of kicked off a craze where people went nuts for it.
Yeah.
After Twilight, interest went down a little bit, way back up now. We were just talking about how we interviewed Jacob Batalon earlier. He's starting a show called Reginald the Vampire.
Right.
Like vampires, just like people are really into it.
People love it. They love horror. They love vampires. They love werewolves, right? It's Halloween time. It's the month. They just like Halloween is the best.
Oh, yeah.
And we all know why. Okay, Halloween night is the best. It's like it's the one time of the year where it's just, I love Halloween. But you look at it like why networks are so obsessed with putting cop shows on or medical shows. They continue to revamp the cycle of these storylines. But I mean, for the horror fans, they love it. It's always been that way. It's Hollywood, man. They just keep redoing it. It's charm, mysterious. It's cool.
With vampires, there's definitely like a psychosexual thing to it that we just can't put a total needle on, but like people just love them like crazy.
They do.
I do have a question.
Yep.
Actually, let's do this one in 6-pack.
We'll go rapid fire.
So we do 6-pack of questions, rapid fire answers, whatever, or you can expand if you want to. If you could join any TV show, past or present, as a regular cast member, what would you pick?
SEAL Team.
SEAL Team.
I can pick my own show, right?
Yeah, you can definitely pick your own show.
Are you? So you're in a twice.
Like literally, it's like the experiences I have on that show. I was in Jordan shooting in the desert, in a Black Hawk, doors open, flying around for a half an hour. It's pretty badass.
Yeah.
So now, hypothetically, though, you're now in the show twice.
That's right.
You've just placed yourself. Okay.
Twice.
We got
Man.
2 of you in it.
I got 2 of them in it now.
Now we're gonna clip this
But
and
you
put
know what? I could be like the complete the other type of personality of Jason Hayes, man. It could be cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sure. Why not?
Now we're gonna clip this, and now your castmates will be like, he wants all the roles in the fucking show now.
Let's take one away from us.
This guy, yeah.
This guy again.
What's been your weirdest fan interaction? I mean, ask this to everybody. Always a weird answer. Usually in a bathroom for whatever reason. People seem way too comfortable talking to people in bathrooms.
Yeah, you just gotta have to. Is that the question? What?
Yeah, just what your weirdest fan interaction was.
Weirdest fan interaction. Oh man. Bathrooms are always the most bizarre. Yeah, you go in and you're taking a leak, and someone recognizes you, and you're just like, dude, let me just do my business, and I'll talk to you when I get out. Or that's always a bizarre moment of like, what? This is bizarre. It's weird.
I just picture it like it's you're at an Eagles game or something, and some dude, hey, ain't you the dude from Bones?
Yeah, no, it's like if I'm in Philly or if I'm at a game, the people just come up to you, or they see you in shock and they scream, and you're like, I'm just here to I'm just a person, man, just having a beer and watching a game can be a little strange too.
Yeah. You can get a starring role in your dream movie or show, or the Flyers win a Stanley Cup. What do you pick?
Flyers to win
Without a
Stanley
doubt.
Cup, without a doubt. Own the team.
I knew
Or
the
I'd have a
answer
cup
before I
and an
asked you.
Oscar or anything, man.
I knew before I asked, but I was just like, I want to make
Done.
sure. We got to get it out there. Who wins in a fight, Angel, Seeley Booth, or Jason Hayes?
It's a really good question. Aliens definitely would win. I mean, I know I've had that caveman and alien conversation. We had that on Bones, like who would win, an alien or a caveman?
Mm-hmm.
And I would definitely say an alien. Because that's high Egyptian kind of concept. Cavemen are metaphors of that. But as far as this is concerned, that's a really tough question, man. You see, Hayes has all the artillery. He's got but that's very much caveman oriented, right?
Yeah.
Seeley Booth kind of same way. Angel's more like, I could fly, man. I could do stunts. I have a connection to the underworld and the above world. So he would be more of an alien. So I would say Angel.
That's fair.
Right?
What do you think the best Philly food is?
Cheesesteak.
Cheesesteak?
All right, specify.
Which one?
Which one?
There's so many, man. Tony Luke's. I know Tony. He's a good guy. That's one of my favorite steaks. There's so many different ones across the board. It's in the suburbs. As crazy as it sounds, there's one point where, and this even goes for Chicago. Like if you want to get a hot dog in Chicago, go to the Four Seasons. If you want to get a good cheesesteak, go to the Four Seasons. I'm telling you. Here's the key to cheesesteaks. It's the bread, right? So Angelo's has got a great place. Mm-hmm. It's awesome. It's the seeded bread, and it's the Cooper Sharp cheese.
Okay.
I'm telling you right now, Cooper Sharp with the ribeye meat, it's unbeatable. Maybe with a long hot on top.
The bread really is. It's different.
But it's the Cooper Sharp.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's the Cooper Sharp. I'm not a whiz guy. I'm not none of that shit, man. I'm not that's gutter food. That's like I've been out at bars, man. I'm gonna go down and slam down a Pat's, man. It's late at night. It's the holidays. You're happy to be home from college. It's 4 a.m. You've struck out 3 times. You're like, give me a cheesesteak. It's dripping. It's freezing, and it tastes great. You wake up in the morning, it's all over your fucking outfit.
I'm a suburbs guy, so I would like I'm a D'Alessandro's like Chubby's guy. Like I like both of those.
I respect that. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a roast beef place in Lafayette Hill area.
Okay. Roast pork.
Ye
That's
Old
another big
Tavern.
thing. Yeah.
Okay. We have a buddy, Roan, one of our coworkers, huge Eagles guy from Philly. He used to work there. Yeah.
Okay.
John's roast pork also.
Yeah, that's a big sandwich. The pork and the escarole, is it, or the greens, or the whole thing.
I think mine was Little Sicily too. Random place. It's kind of near like the Regal or whatever big movie. Whatever big movie theater right nearby. I also love Citywides. I don't know if I could throw that in there for Philly.
Okay, sure.
That's the best Philly thing I think.
I'll take Chickies and Pete's. Too.
Yeah.
Chickies and Pete's fries, man.
Just those crab fries. Yeah.
Crab fries are legendary, man. Go to down Lorenzo's, get a big slice.
Oh
of
yeah,
fry.
the biggest slice
While
in the
you're
world.
like halfway in, you're like, the sauce is getting sweeter and sweeter. You ever notice that?
I swear to you, someone earlier I know in Philly, I said we were interviewing. They said you're gonna ask about Lorenzo's. I'm not gonna ask about Lorenzo's, but there you go.
But no, it happens. Like it's just kind of one of those tourist kind of things in a little bit of ways. Like Jim's burned down at a fire or something, right? I guess they're rebuilding, but Lorenzo's, it's impressive, right? And then you're halfway in, like the sauce starts gripping you, man. It's like sugar. It's shit. It's fucking addiction, man.
All right, last one on here. You had a little bit of a Twitter spat with our boss, I think over Bob Henry or something.
I knew this was coming.
Has enough time passed where we can bury the hatchet?
He gave you. I want to know.
Without a doubt, man. Listen,
He gave you the win. He doesn't do that often.
I think that the two of them are great. I enjoy the banter. It's like me sitting in a room at a bar with a Giants fan. They're dicks. It's like me sitting in a room with a Boston fan. From hockey. If I'm watching the Bruins and I'm a Flyer fan, I love the people in Boston, but their sports fans are dicks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I'm just going to be quite honest with you. I respect them because they are dicks, right? And I respect the banter. So, I respect Dave. I respect Bob. I think that it's humorous. I think it's great. It's banter. We need that.
He conceded. He said, "You win, Bones guy."
You beat him down. Not many people can claim that.
He's a good guy.
I want to say about Philly stuff too. If you're ever presented with an opportunity, and obviously I don't know, but have to. Who would you play? Like would you play maybe a Doug Peterson? Throw it in the Philly special. If you could ever have a Philly sports movie, you don't have to be that team.
No. I understand what you're saying. No,
Invincible
I totally
too.
get it. Like the Flyers have always been, we've circled paths across a few times with the Broad Street Bullies and their markup and makeup. It's really about getting the guys' life's rights, for them to sign off. It's always tough to do that. But it encompassed with the city of Philadelphia. So I look at the city of Philadelphia as its own sports team, right?
Yeah.
You have all these teams, but the city itself breeds the story. To me, that's the story, right? It's like what Rocky, it was the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's you have to grab that and encompass that, like make it about the city of Philadelphia with the sports teams rather than a sports team. I'd rather do it that direction.
Yeah.
Right. I think that there's something great about the blue collar city. I love the people that are the underdogs. For actors, they love strife, they love conflict, they love adversities, they love playing like the down and out guy who's, having an issue with something and he's got to overcome it. And he's a Phillies fan and they suck. They haven't been in the World Series for over 10 years, and everything's Phillies. And he's going out and he's hanging out at the local bars. His life is falling apart. Right. There's like that kind of aspect of it, bringing the mold in from that perspective would be good. I did play on Mighty Max. I did play Ed Rush, which was a cool movie. So I played the actual referee, and that was a lot of fun. We shot that down in Philly, which was an extraordinary time. That was a hell of a time.
If that awesome drama, which you actually just described, that just sounds fucking great. Like just the real as
The
grizzled
aspect
sports
of it.
fans.
Yeah.
If that doesn't work, you could still maybe do the the garbage picking, field goal kicking Philadelphia phenomenon with Tony Danza. You could do a sequel to that.
Perfect, man. Love it, man. I think that's awesome, man.
I do like the drama sports thing. I like though.
You have to. The city's got to touch. Like with all my characters, I bring in Philly. Whether it's I'm obsessed with the Flyers. I love hockey, the Eagles. Bringing the brand into the character, I think, is always fun.
Yeah, I feel like you'd be a good guest spot on It's Always Sunny. I feel like you would
love that show. Be great. Be fantastic.
They have great Flyers moments in that show
love that.
too.
Yeah. I know the people there. I know the organization. They're great. I loved Mr. Snyder when he's around. Corporations, companies have taken over sports teams and they don't know how to run a sports team. It's sad to watch, man. It really is. They don't even know what they're doing.
No.
You got to listen, man. I love the Eagles, right? I say going in this season, and I don't want to twist and turn it to waves. Like, I want Jalen Hurts to make me want to be a fan. I want Nick Sirianni to make me like him. Okay, I didn't.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
I know. We have enough Eagles fans.
Sirianni, he's freaking at halftime or at the end of the game talking about flowers at the beginning. Couldn't do a press conference to save his life in the beginning. He's like, he was stumbling all over himself. He was chewing his tongue. Like, what's going on? What do we do? Right? Same thing like with Torts. Love Torts. How's he going to turn the Flyers around? Dude, you got a lot of excess baggage that you need to clean out, right? But I think Sirianni did a good job when he turned to the fans in Detroit and won that game, and he was like high-fiving them. My son pointed that out. I'm like, okay, do some respect. I love that. Like, okay, you don't have to just wear a T-shirt every day. Like, hey, I'm a Philly guy, so I'm going to put on a Harold Carmichael shirt. That makes me a Philly guy? Fuck no, it doesn't make you a Philly guy. You have to be there and live it and understand the people, man. That's the heart of it. Jalen Hurts, keep throwing darts and scoring touchdowns and be smart with the ball. I'm good with that. So, I have a question for you, though. If you had across the board had to choose between Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson, man, right now, who would you choose?
I'd take Lamar. I watch him a lot.
I see him a lot though. Like as a Browns fan, I do think he is.
Good question, right?
Gotta see.
I went to Kentucky and he just traumatized us when he was at Louisville. Like he's the fastest athlete I've ever seen.
He's insane.
I do like Hurts a lot though. Like he is.
It's an interesting
I
thing.
was
You
a
almost
hater.
have to kind of answer that question at the end of the season, right?
It's
Hey,
weird. because,
Hurts
like,
carried me last year in fantasy though.
you
so.
ask us the same question last year, and it's like, well, obviously Lamar, but like even 4 games in this.
Yeah,
year, it's
the
like
fact that
totally
that's even a
different
question
human.
now.
Now it's like you have to stop and think about it for a second. It's huge.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
if you had to gamble and pick one right now,
Yeah. I mean, that's what I would
a
pick
tough-
Lamar too, but like it's the fact that it's even remotely a question, like it's insane.
presents itself to the table, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Thank you so much, SEAL team. We gotta let you go.
Appreciate it, man.
Season 6, Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
Check it out.
man.
Good luck to the mild. Yeah.
Mild congratulations.
I'm in the
Good luck.
AFC.
I
so
actually,
have all
I
the
don't.
Good luck you want.
You know,
Yeah.
my son, we were at the shop, and my son's like, we got to go to this place and get these vintage shirts and stuff. I think it's Midtown somewhere. It's a great place.
Yeah.
Walk in, and he literally gets a Tomlinson jersey. My son's favorite player.
That's what
growing
got me
up as a
into the
kid.
Chargers.
The light blue. Got an actual
Yeah.
jersey. Like that's a sign, man.
That's
Like I
that's what
like
got me
the
into it.
Chargers. I think that quarterback he can ball, man.
I know. Well, especially when he shouldn't be balling sometimes. Like when his rib is cracked,
You
he's in the middle of a blowout versus the Jaguars. Probably shouldn't be balling, but
Can't man ribs. When you crack your rib, nothing can heal that. Man. You just need time.
Yeah, that's pretty tough.
It's
Yeah.
so painful. And like I've been through bad liver disease, right? Almost lost my fucking liver. I've been through the kidney thing. Have you ever had the kidney thing? Oh fuck.
No, I'm not looking.
Pain. No, you guys have a lot of things to look forward to.
Yeah, I
All I
know.
can say is hydrate.
Oh,
drink a lot
can't
of
wait
water,
for
man.
this. Yeah. Except your team won a Super Bowl, so now we would get that without the inevitable Super Bowl. So that's why I
See
said
what happens,
mild
man.
good luck. Yeah.
We'll mark it down. We'll see what happens. Maybe it could be a Bills Eagles Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
I don't know, but you know, I'm still the jury's still out on Hurts for me.
Yeah. We'll see.
Okay.
I'm just saying
That's an Eagles fan right there. 4-0, probably the best team in football right now, and you're like, yeah, we'll see.
I like their defense.
That's why I like
their
Philadelphia
defense
fans.
can ball, man.
Yeah. Slay. So
That's why I like Philly fans. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate
Appreciate
it.
you.
Shout out to David Boreanaz. Very fun interview. Classic Philly fan. Great team in front of him. He's like, nah, I don't know yet. He's like, convince me. Make me convinced that you're a good quarterback and head coach. He was fun, though. David Boreanaz was a good time. Amsterdam and the Munsters. We'll talk about Amsterdam first, because I just don't know how long I can talk about this movie. Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Huge cast.
Mammoth.
Crazy cast. David O. Russell, noted self-admitted piece of shit.
He's got to get back to that.
We have something in common. Okay.
just a flat-out bad dude. But as people know, I don't really care about that when it comes to movie making. I'm gonna watch the movie. I love Midnight in Paris. Say it all the time. Bad dude, whatever. We're here to talk about the product. Many of the movies people see, some people love them. Three Kings, I Heart Huckabees, The Fighter, Silver Linings Playbook.
Good
American
movies.
Hustle, that's where things started to.
Yeah.
Joy, the mop movie, that came out 7 years ago. This last movie was 7 years ago. Amsterdam, crazy cast. Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, John David Washington, Chris Rock, Anya Taylor-Joy, Zoe Saldana, Mike Myers, Michael Shannon, Timothy Oliphant, Taylor Swift,
And nothing made me laugh more than that scene.
Ed Begley Jr., Rami Malek, Bob De Niro.
Oh, Bobby, it's good. It's always good to see Bobby. Yeah.
Man, oh man. This movie got panned very quickly when it started releasing. I don't know where it first debuted, but it debuted about a month ago. It debuted at Lincoln Center, right up where I live.
TIFF? Where was NYC?
NYC Film Festival, maybe. Yeah. Amsterdam. Here's the synopsis. Amsterdam synopsis.
There's no way this is a good synopsis.
No, not a chance. Set in the 30s, it follows three friends who witness a murder, become suspects themselves, and uncover one of the most outrageous plots in American history. Did they witness the murder?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the beginning of the movie. I mean,
Taylor Swift. They didn't witness her dad. No. He was spoiler,
Yeah.
poisoned.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess. Okay. I'm talking about like the what sets the events off.
See, this synopsis is. I knew it would be bad.
Yeah,
I knew it would be bad.
Whatever. Yeah, Taylor Swift's character fucking dies in the movie. There's your spoiler.
Yeah.
Alert. Sorry.
It's very funny. I
Yeah.
recorded it and I sent it to Trill, who also laughed very hard at it. That was hilarious. We had like a full conversation about how Taylor Swift is probably done with acting after that.
Whatever. They one of the characters, they're looking at a dead person. They got it kicks up the mystery. How did this happen? Was this a murder? Whatever. It's like a murder mystery, I guess.
It's like a caper.
This movie, I said we might be surprised. And that was what we call a fake tease. This movie is dog shit.
Wow.
This movie sucks ass. Is this movie, this is where I was talking about earlier, is this movie worse than Jurassic World Dominion?
Oh,
Whoa.
oh,
Maybe not. But then I sit back and I think about it more, and I take that initial score, like I said, and I drop it fucking down the list even further, because this movie treats its audience like we are pieces of shit. Like we are the dumbest fucking collective people alive. For as much as I love ambiguous endings, this is the least ambiguously ended movie of all time. I'm not saying it had to be ambiguous, but oh my God. Like, I could not believe how much they walk you through this movie. This movie makes me feel it makes me feel like they think we're the dumbest people alive watching this movie. It's a slog. It's so boring. This movie is so painfully boring. I could not believe. There's a couple reviewers that I listen to who they're like, oh, it's a shame this movie's back. It's Christian Bale. Good performance. What the none of these performances are good. I didn't like any of them. I actually kind of like Chris Rock a little bit. I thought Chris Rock looked like he kind of had a little fun with it. This movie was painful. This was a painful bad movie. And I kind of wanted to like it because the reviews were so bad. I was like, man, imagine if I like Don't Worry Darling a little bit and I kind of like this too. This movie was complete dog water ass. Boring and offensive. Wow. It's offensive how stupid they treat their audience.
Holy shit.
That's what did it for me. Because honestly, probably in like the 50s somewhere. But when you make me feel that stupid, I'm going to drop you so far down the list. 37, one of the worst, bigger movies that I've seen this year in terms of acting, anything. Like, it's not going to get down there with I also just watched some other like Christian, no offense, sorry if you're like into like the religious movies, some like religious baseball movie, and then there's some other movie with
you watched Angels in the Outfield?
There's some other Dolph Lundgren movie I just watched. Like, it's not like that.
Yeah, that one was bad.
That movie, the Dolph Lundgren battleship movie.
Yep.
That's how, like, we talked about this the other day. I was joking with Chris. We were talking about like movies we hate. I'm like, Chris, you got to remember, we watch. This is not like a flex. Why
you're right. You're right.
Know, but we watch shit that I don't know why we do it to ourselves, Kenji.
Our relative scale is so different than like a human being of like a rational brain.
All right, sorry, rant over 30
Well,
seconds.
I mean, I was about to say the role of Jeff Lowe is being played by Chris Castellani tonight.
I hated this fucking movie. This movie sucked.
Wow.
30 seconds.
I think for this movie, the biggest takeaway I had from it is that for an all-star cast of like actors that we know are incredible, very, very good. All of them are amazing actors. It never seemed like we got the best take from any one of them. Like, it always seemed like let's try it again type take. Like, and that's the one that made the final cut. And so when I walked away from this movie, I'm like, David O. Russell lost his fastball. He's got to get mean again. Like, he's probably being so nice because he wants to like redeem his image or whatever. Yeah. Brother, you need to start yelling at people. You need to start screaming. Go fucking blow your top, because like that is not every one of those actors' best performances. And like, you're basically like, you're like the coach of a football team out there, right? Like, you got to get the reps in. You got to make sure you get the right reps in so that you can be confident in these guys. And they stunk. What do you think?
KJ, I actually, to add to your point, I watched a interview. It was the Variety does those sit down interviews with stars, and they run through their most iconic roles. He was talking about working with David O. Russell on this movie, And he was like, yeah, it's my second time working with him, after The Fighter. And he's like, David Russell is very interesting. Wait, what?
It's also
not.
not.
It's Hustle. It's the American Hustle.
American Hustle. Sorry, American Hustle. Sorry. I had that mixed up in my head. But and he was like, yeah, he's a little erratic behind the camera. Like he's erratic on set in terms of like how he directs. And he's like, the other actors weren't getting it. He's like, JD and Margot weren't getting it. And like he would like, like shout out like, oh, now you do that line and you switch lines. Like, just actually scratch that line, say this instead, like stuff like that. And they weren't vibing with it at all, apparently. And he came to Christian Bale and he's like, can you be my ambassador, like to them and like get them like on board with the vision? So like this might have been like the actors did not like working with him. Like,
but like even for Bale, I thought that he didn't get the best take out of him. But like, it felt weird because all of the actors, and I think particularly with John David Washington, like he seemed kind of out of it and like not into the movie at all.
He does that. He's done that multiple times.
Is he a good actor?
Yeah, I thought he was great in Malcolm and Marie.
See, I didn't like him in that, but I liked him in Black Klansman a lot.
I did too.
I like Tenet, so
I like Tenet, but I didn't think Tenet was good because of him.
I think he just felt disengaged in this. Margot Robbie too, to a degree, but like that I think is the biggest takeaway from this movie is that there's the bones here of a good movie. You have an absolutely all-star cast. You have an interesting enough concept in like this sort of caper by like the people from all different places brought together by the war and all that. But it just derailed by kind of ship shop acting and also like a kind of convoluted plot in the way that they present it through pacing. It's too long by like at half an hour. And also it falls into my least favorite trope of movies or not. No, I guess it is a trope from movies from this era, which is like anytime I watch something that is taking place in the 30s, I'm like, how are they going to ham fist the Nazis into this one? Like, how are we going to get here? We have to hear about the Nazis once. And when is it going to be? And that happened like, I remember with Peaky Blinders, right? Like it takes place in the 20s. And as it moves forward, like we're getting into the 30s. I'm like, I know these assholes are about to bring up Hitler. Like, I know we're going to hear about it. Hey, fucking you hear about this dude in Germany or some shit. And that whole season based on that.
Season
like, every
one,
time.
It's like, my cousin got kicked out of art school.
Mm-hmm.
You're the king of saying you figure movies out quickly. I thought figuring this shit out was like, I mean, that was the other thing too. I thought like figuring out what was going to happen at the end wasn't like a crazy leap. And that's why them holding your hand to explain everything was so fucking stupid and annoying. How quickly did you catch on to how this was all going to play out?
I knew the Nazis were going to come into play. Like that's a big. You introduce like, hey, there's all these World War I veterans. We're in the 30s, and this one character is Jewish. Like we're going to hear about. Oh, and then we have an interracial relationship. Like we're going to hear about the fucking Nazis, no matter what. And of course we did. Of course it was a huge thing in it, and they had this like kind of weird cabal plot, like Illuminati shit going on, and then like that ending scene where they're like, yeah, maybe we'll go hop around Europe for a little while, and he's like, maybe you shouldn't. I feel like some bad things are going to happen in Europe soon. Like that was 90s episode LCB right there.
Really,
that was 90s level bad in the way that they presented that. Like, you can make it more subtle than that, David O. Russell. You know it. But yeah, just overall too confusing. Some cool stuff in it. I liked like a lot of the back and forth between some of the characters, like the detectives going back and forth with Christian Bale. The everything with Michael Myers I thought was awesome, and Michael Shannon as well. I thought they were both really good in it. In weird ways. But like a lot of the other stuff just really in that main plot really just lost me very fast, very quickly. Bob De Niro didn't belong in this movie. Not a role for him.
Yeah.
Ed Begley Jr. I thought was kind of funny. Like the way that they had him act like weirdly robotic, I thought was kind of funny. And I think it was a good spot for him, but really just a real bummer. Because again, all those pieces are there, just not really.
What score are you going with?
I'm going to go with like, I'm higher than Jeff for sure. I would say like a 49. I'd say I'm happy with that.
I could have loudly booed in the theater this entire movie.
Jeff, you're gonna hate what I'm about to tell you.
Oh no!
they stood up and cheered after this movie was over.
No way!
I swear to God, I swear. I was in a theater with a bunch of olds too. So that might have played into it where, I don't know, maybe it was up their alley, but
they fought in World War II. So
yeah, I don't know. They stood up and cheered. It was like the meekest, like one person did it, and then like a spattering of people started to do it, but it was like all like just kind of like this kind of clap. I don't know. But Chris, am I right in guessing that you liked it? Just going off facial expressions. You like it because I'm gonna give mine if
you go ahead. I have a story. That's why I'm smiling about it. So you go ahead and I'll explain because I have a lot to explain here and I feel bad. But you go ahead, Gooch. You do your thing. Yep.
In that same interview I referenced earlier, Christian Bale also says this is a movie that's been sputtering around or puttering around David Russell's head for a while now. And Christian Bale has agreed to be a part of it for a long time, I think like a decade. He said there was 12 different scripts and they could have made 12 different movies. And when he said that, I was like, this makes sense now because this shit feels like 5 movies crammed together. It's a tonal mess. Tonally, it has no fucking idea if it wants to be like funny, ironic at times. And as soon as you settle into like a quirky kind of mood, they switch it up and then you're back into like an actual investigation.
There was like 5 minutes where I was like, is this a fucking Wes Anderson movie? Like, where are they going with this?
It's like every time Rami Malek was on screen, I was like, oh, this, yeah, exactly. Which I actually kind of liked Rami Malek in this.
He was good.
Out of all the things I like him in, he finally nailed a villain. But yeah, I don't hate it as much as you all because I do think there's actually some really cool stuff in here. Like, there's some good dialogue. There's some really good cinematography, I think. But it's style over substance at that point. But I didn't hate it. I'm going 60, and it's because like there's a lot. I actually liked Christian Bale in this. I don't know. I liked him. He was goofy. He just worked for me. The character worked for me. I do agree that some of the actors definitely mailed it in. John David Washington felt like he mailed it in. No. He did not. He felt
so disengaged.
He did not feel like he wanted to be there at any point. Margot Robbie, I just don't think she can turn in a bad performance. I don't know. She's like Randall Park, just a very likable person every time she's on screen.
Yeah, that's true.
Anya Taylor-Joy afterthought in this, by the way, considering
she was bad. She was bad.
Yeah. No good.
The bit was funny. Her wanting to fuck Robert De Niro was pretty kind of got a chuckle out of me. Like when she like first shook his hand and was just trying to hump him. But outside of that, like I thought she was bad. Robert De Niro felt very ham-fisted. Robert De Niro has reached a point in his career where you see him and you're just like, it's Bob De Niro.
This shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Which is tough. But yeah, I can't go as low as you all. I wasn't as offended by it as you, Jeff. Maybe it's because I'm the idiots they're catering to. But 60 out of 100 for me. Now, Chris, I want to hear the story.
Well, no, my grade is an incomplete grade, and here's why. I went to see the movie today, and it was I jogged to the theater. I get there as I'm in the theater because I was the only person there for the first 30 minutes. I scheduled a call with someone at the company. It was very important, but I'm like, all right, hey, no, this is fine because I'm going to be able to watch the movie when I leave. I'll jog home, and I can be ready for the call and be able to review the movie. So because it's Regal, it's 30 minutes of fucking trailers. But even then, I'm like, fine, I'm going to be able to get through this. The movie starts, and the film looks like Kanye West's All of the Lights video. It is completely out of focus. It is changing colors every half second to a point where I actually took a video of it and posted it to Twitter. And the first comment was, you should delete this because you're going to give somebody a seizure. And I did. And this lasted about 10 minutes to a point where I had to go to the person, one of the ushers at the theater, and say, there's a problem in theater 3. Like it wasn't just visual either. The audio was like fucked up and garbled. So I'm like, there's a problem in theater 3. I come back, I sit there for another 5 minutes and it's still going. And then the movie just turns off. And the person comes into the theater and says, this is going to be a minute because we need like basically an entire new print of the movie. So unfortunately, due to time constraints, I was not able to finish watching the film.
How far did you get in? Just those first 20 minutes?
Less than halfway, sadly. And I apologize for that. I apologize to the audience. It was, I really,
just a rain delay.
I feel bad. I do feel bad, genuinely. But it was one of those things where what I saw, I did not hate. Because Margot Robbie, John David Washington, and Christian Bale, those are 3 people I like seeing in a movie together. The problem is it was one of those things where I could tell where it was going to go, and I don't think I'm going to end up liking it. The one observation I'll make, and again, I feel really bad, I apologize for just a weird circumstance, is seeing Taylor Swift in movies, and Gooch, you would know this, you're a huge Yankees fan. Seeing Taylor Swift in movies is kind of like when they let Mariano Rivera play second base, like his second to last game, where it's like, I understand that you're a talent, but it's weird seeing you. It's similar to Madonna, where it's like, you're too famous to be in movies. I know that sounds strange, but now I did get a legitimate laugh just seeing somebody, and I like Taylor Swift, seeing her just be pushed in front of a car.
It was so fucking funny. It was so funny. I laughed out loud.
It was like that fucking episode of South Park where they're like, we need to throw Eric Cartman under the bus. And they're like, how do we do that? It's like, well, we get a bus and we throw him under it. So again, I'm sorry. I do plan on going and finishing my viewing experience. I cannot either recommend this or not recommend this to people. This was just a weird circumstance in which I was not able to finish the film.
Yeah. I mean, you're muted, Jeff.
Good for you on that one. Bad movie.
Yeah, I will finish it at some point, but yeah, that's just how it works.
I do want to bring something up, and this is kind of like, this is more broad sweeping about the movie industry and like the box office. This finished third behind Lyle Crocodile and Smile. This cast, finishing third at the box office, not even making $10 million opening weekend. Is Tom Cruise the only bankable movie star left? Is that? Yes. Are we going to find that out this weekend with The Rock? Like, because The Rock has been long considered one of the bankable guys.
I have a take on this. One, the movie was not well marketed, and I think in this case it was very poorly marketed. The trailers didn't kind of come out till late. It got terrible reviews. But like the four of us, when we look at this cast, we go, man, this is pretty cool. But the average Joe Q public person, they don't give a shit about Rami Malek. They don't really Margot Robbie, sure. But even Christian Bale, as amazing of an actor as he is, he doesn't sell a product the way that, Tom Cruise does, or even The Rock does. I think that it's a famous cast of people, but that doesn't mean that there's anyone really individually that goes, oh, I got to see that because that person's in it. No, that's just my theory on it. Yeah.
I thought Smile was solid, by the way. I know Ken Jack saw it as well.
Yeah.
We're in the high 60s, low 70s.
Great ass marketing campaign, by the way. I thought that was super smart what they did with the baseball games.
It also, I know Chris Suckman said the same things too on this, but there was a lot of homages to other horror movies, which you could either view as like, oh, this is kind of one of the same. But I thought it was a very solid movie. I'm not into that Terrifier shit though. That ain't my bag, brother.
Stuckman loved it, I think. Did he?
Terrifier 2, not my thing. I did not like the first one. The new one, not a huge fan of. That clown sucks.
Hellraiser by reboot though, pretty solid. All things
Hellraiser was solid. I was a little let down by it.
Based on the hype, yeah, me too.
Yeah, I expected a little more. Now, granted, that isn't fully my thing, and that's one of those ones where I can be like, that isn't. It's the best Hellraiser outside of the original. I gave it a 61, Ken Jack a 65, but I guess I think I kind of thought it'd be a little better too. It was like, oh fuck, did they release another thing like Prey and it's not in theaters? It'd be great. It's Hellraiser. That shit's not my favorite stuff in the world.
Same.
But if I still like had a good time with it, even though I don't think it was great. If you like that stuff, I think Hellraiser will be fairly enjoyed.
I like Hellraiser. I love those freaky Cenobites. Those wet-ass Cenobites with a big open mouth.
Mimosa's looking at something. What's she looking at?
Who's looking at?
Mimosa. She's back there looking at something.
Oh, Mimosas.
For like 20 minutes.
Making a cameo.
Oh, brother. All right, last thing here.
She wants to talk about Amsterdam.
She does. Final score
Royal match. Mimosa's favorite game.
7 or 49 from Ken Jack?
Sorry, for which one?
49.
Amsterdam.
Yeah, 49 for Amsterdam.
And then Gooch, what did you say
60.
Again? 60. Okay.
Yeah, incomplete. Sorry.
The Munsters on Netflix from Rob Zombie. It's a prequel to the Munsters. If you're not aware, the Munsters, it's based on the 1960s sitcom, same name. I love the Munsters. I grew up with the Munsters.
You grew up in 1965?
I grew up with the reruns of the Munsters.
Yeah.
I actually like the idea that Jeff is like ages like Kenneth from 30 Rock.
Yeah. This is a passion project from Rob Zombie. He's wanted to do this forever. Rob Zombie, known for disgusting, gross, intense movies, made this family comedy on Netflix. This is my suspected budget. I have analyzed this movie. I think the Munsters had a budget of $11. This movie
just with the Spirit Halloween.
I don't know what the fuck was this movie. Oh, the trailer is fascinating because it's something that I know Red Letter Media theorized that he cut it together, like he did the trailer.
Yeah,
himself,
that he edited it. Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck this movie is. My dog is barking. We're talking about Munsters. This is so bad. But the best review on this that you can go watch, by the way, listen to us first. Double Toasted, some of the best people on YouTube when it comes to listening to reviews.
Love them.
Their review of this movie was so funny.
Yeah.
The quote Double Toasted review said, "Rob Zombie is a goddamn fool." Like, that is such a funny way to put this.
They were the best, yeah.
It's so bad. It's like shockingly bad. It's not intentionally bad either. Rob Zombie just doesn't know how to make a comedy. Like
or a movie, I would argue.
It is so bad.
He's like can't get a joke in the script, so he just has.
When I mentioned the anime thing, Double Toasted said this great. They mentioned there's just some parts of the movie that you were like, this is like a cartoon almost. But it's so live action and so like high school vanity project, like a high schooler made it. It's so bad. It's so fucking stupid. It sounds bad. It looks bad. The dialogue stinks. It's not funny. I don't know who it's for. The Munsters is such a specific time period. And the Munsters is definitely less known than the Addams Family. Like the Addams Family. It is, but like I would say present day.
Present day, yeah, sure, yeah.
The Munsters' relevance to present day is significantly less than the Addams Family. Like there's Addams Family values, like there's stuff that's kept the Addams Family going along. The song is so iconic. Not that the Munsters isn't. The Munsters is iconic, but in like kind of a different way. Because
Addams Family is way better in my opinion. It's way more catchy.
I like the Munsters, but the Addams Family, it's like the snaps. The Munsters, this movie is so bad. One of the worst of the year. However, I'm happy I watched it because it was an experience.
Yep.
Abysmal. 7 out of 100. Terrible movie. Just awful. Just an awful fucking movie. It is. I walked upstairs to talk to Gooch about other stuff, like dozen stuff, and he was watching it. And he was like, by the way, this thing. And I saw what he was watching. I'm like, I know. I don't even know what to say at this point.
Yeah.
Again, Double Toasted. Rob Zombie's a goddamn fool.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
Jeff, a quick sidebar. Do you remember Spill.com? Because they were the site that those guys ran before. That was my OG like movie review site. Love Corey Coleman. Shout out to him. Talked to him on the phone back in 2008.
So bad.
This movie is like a really bad one for me to watch because, man, you want to talk about shit that ain't people's bag. Munsters are not my bag at all, or Addams Family, or really any of those shows from that era. Just ain't my shit. And this one was so like you could feel Rob Zombie, like you could tell he really liked this show growing up or whatever, and like he's like, man, I could do that. I could make a homage to this show I like, and it just felt. So it felt like an imitation, like a really bad imitation. And it gets hurt really bad by the fact that it's not funny. That makes no fucking sense. And that it is like, what, 2.5 hours long?
It's an hour. It's an hour 46 minutes. It's not that long.
Dude, it felt so much longer. That felt so fucking long. Way too long for the Munsters.
I like that you said it made no sense. It's like the mad ramblings of a Munsters fan for 110 minutes.
Yeah. So like the only place I can give it any credit is that like you make fun of like the costume design. I kind of find it like the way that it was shot like endearing, and that it looked like it was shot in like a Spirit Halloween or whatever, like with the way they had the lighting and all that shit. Like I was like, that's fucking goofy, but like the movie didn't match that. You know what I mean? The actual everything else nuts and bolts did not match that look, and just man, fucking torturous movie to go to sit through again as someone that's just not into this shit. Like I'm not getting any of the references. I'm not understanding what the fuck is going on, and like I'm just so fucking confused by the end of it that when like the guy, the Frankenstein, which by the way, and he was the star of another show or another thing I'm sure you love, Jeff. He was the caveman from Geico.
Yes.
He was the fucking caveman. When he gets, dead serious. And he, by the time he gets the job with like the fucking coffin company, I'm like, what the fuck happened in this goddamn movie? I went back and I looked at the Wikipedia. No Munsters movie deserves an 8-paragraph Wikipedia entry on their plot. Yeah. That is bananas to me. Like no movie, it should never ever be that long. It should be like the length of Werewolf by Night is exactly that's the cap for fucking Munsters.
This should have been a special.
Yeah, if it was a special, same length, you condense all this shit, you get rid of all this like superfluous shit. Like it would be not that like it could be okay, yeah. But man, it was just like the ramblings of a madman. I think is a good way to put it because it just felt so fucking incoherent that like I can't imagine anyone sat through the editing of that movie and like, yeah, fucking, we got gold here. Someone's gonna love this. Like some fun, some good jokes, whatever. There's not really great acting. Some nepotism in the casting.
Oh boy,
big time.
Boy, oh boy.
That was Sherry Moon Zombie, which by the way, she was raised in the same town I was in Connecticut, Plainville, Connecticut. Shout out. Her acting in this movie was
stinks.
Yeah.
So bad. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of a line. Some of her deliveries where she's like really preaching and being like almost like Shakespearean. It reminded me of the line from Role Models when he's like, "Doth the Xanthian weep like a maiden?" Like that, that's how she delivered every line in this movie, and I couldn't believe it.
It was bad, and like she, and like the rest of the cast wasn't really that much better. They had the dude fucking Daniel Roebuck, the guy who was supposed to play Marv, I think, and then a couple other guys, and just I just detested this movie from start to finish.
You know what this movie felt like? It felt like a porn parody without any of the sex.
Yeah.
No, it's just like watching one of those porn parodies. No sex. Like
this movie needed Elvira.
An hour and 45 minutes long. It was so long. Like I can actually respect the campiness if the movie was funny, but it just isn't. Like you said, Rob Zombie is hitting such a brick wall and writing jokes that he has Herman Munster doing stand-up. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? I can't hate it. I don't hate it because I actually think there is a demographic for this that'll eat it up and love it. That demographic are people who wear Nightmare Before Christmas t-shirts year round. People with head. But outside that,
somebody wearing one of those like the Beetlejuice pattern long sleeve shirts, but it's not a long sleeve shirt. It's just sewed to the short sleeve shirt.
It's so specific.
Yes. Somebody with an Invader Zim squishmallow.
This was made for Invader Zim adults.
Yes. Invader Zim for not just adults, like actual boomers, like people born baby boomers.
Dude, this movie, it's just like it's got to be some sort of money laundering scheme, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's what it felt like.
Netflix gave him $5 million. He spent $5,000.
How much do you think fucking what's his name from Lost count? Huey or whatever from Lost. How much do you think he ran him? No way it cost them more than like $10,000.
He's probably just buddies. He probably just threw his friends in there. They thought he was making a home video.
Yeah.
You could argue he did.
Yeah.
All right, Chris.
All right. Clear out. Clear out.
He took a shot for the podcast listeners.
Yes. We all hated Blonde, right?
Yeah.
Blonde, as much as I despise it, qualifies as a movie. It has a director and actors and characters. Those characters do have arcs. Now, we don't like them. And you know, Gooch, your quote, the catalog of trauma porn, perfect way to put it. While watching this film, it occurred to me, at what point does a film cease being a movie? Because I think we have that here. Because basic things that we take for granted, like I hated the bubble, right? But the bubble was in focus. it did have characters. The sound editing, you could hear what people were saying. It had basic Foley work. When somebody got punched or fell down, they had a sound effect. This does not qualify to me as a feature film, despite simply having a runtime. And it's just one of those things. Like, I don't know why this guy gets to me so much. I know he has a cultish army of neckbeards that think he's talented. Rob Zombie fucking stinks. Like, and it's that whole mentality that name, Rob Zombie. Ooh, he's fucking edgy. No, he's not. He's a guy who made a music video like 15 years ago that people liked. That's all he is. This guy has absolute. Go ahead.
Can I tell you something? Do you want to know what Rob Zombie's real name is?
I'm sure it's
Robert Bartlett Cummings.
Right. It's like it's just, I just hate that whole like when somebody makes loud music, therefore all of a sudden they're edgy. It's like those people say, Gigi Allen ate shit on stage. So what? Like a big deal. Like the only guy who actually matches that description is fucking Ozzy Osbourne, who ate a bat on stage. He's a badass. Besides that, whatever. But even beyond that, the guy can't direct a movie. And the big problem with this, you brought up the nepotism. He's casting all his friends. The Geico Caveman doesn't even make an attempt to be like Fred Gwynn. Not to say I want him to do a shitty impression, but like it's so disingenuous. If you walked into one of the Barstool studios when Glennie Balls was directing or interviewing a porn star, they would be a better actor than Sherry Moon Zombie. She fucking stinks. She doesn't even attempt to act in this movie. Like her mannerisms, you just want to pull your hair out watching the entire thing. This is easily the worst movie of the year. Like this it's so bad that for a large majority of it was in that like Room, Plan 9 from Outer Space territory where it's like, do I almost recommend this to people? But the problem is it keeps going.
It's too long, man.
And the fact that the movie, you notice how the movie just stopped. The movie actually doesn't have any. I've never seen a movie in which the characters have negative arcs, in which the characters actually regress in terms of their knowledge of life, the world, whatever. It actually goes backwards as a film. And beyond that, look, I'm ripping it because I enjoy ripping shitty arcs. I know I'm an asshole when it comes to that. But truly, of the little bit that I've seen of the Munsters, and I think, Jeff, you'll agree with me on this. Well, I'm not going to claim to be an expert on that era of television, though I have seen every Twilight Zone episode. The Munsters did legitimately have actual heart and soul and tried to have a message. Yeah. It was a very genuine television show. There is not a single thing about this that feels genuine, honest, or real. And that's why I actually hate the whole, well, he's clearly a fan of the Munsters. Based on this movie, I don't get that impression. I don't watch anything from this that makes me think, oh, this guy really loves and cares about this product. So, I mean, I think it is a soulless, empty film that I'm giving a 5 out of 100 to for two reasons. One, the guy who played Jonathan Munster, he's trying. Like, I think that he's doing what he can. Like, that's a character actor who I think was genuinely passionate, who was given worse source material than most people get in a high school plays, but he's trying. But beyond that, the only other reason I'm giving it a 5 is because no matter what, it's like the Roger Ebert principle when it came to Freddy Got Fingered. As bad as it is, I will not forget this movie. like Blonde in a few years, I will probably forget it existed. The Bubble in a few years, while I'll hate it, I will probably forget it existed. It ranks up there among those movies that I will probably wake up at some point in the middle of the night in a few weeks and be like, was this a fever dream?
Sweating it out.
Yeah. This is this year's Venom 2 for me, but it's substantially worse. Because again, Venom 2 qualified as a movie. I don't know if you can say that here. And again, it's Red Letter Media when they did their Jack and Jill review talked about it, where like this does feel like a money laundering scheme. This movie cost $40 million.
No way.
Yeah, and then he like dispute that. It's crazy. It's crazy.
There's no way in hell that
the Batman cost $100 million. Like, that means this is almost half the production budget, budget of one of the most beautiful looking movies I've seen in the last decade.
They shot this in the volume.
So yeah, I mean, I'm glad to get it off my chest because really, if there's certain movies I see that are probably on this show, especially probably have not been as deserving of the ripping I've given them. there's something like just icky about this where you can claim to be a fan all you want, but at the same time, you have to come in with the best of intentions. And I just don't think he did. Don't make another movie. If you want to make more music, go ahead and do it. Take a step back, man.
All right. I do want to say to Rob Zombie's credit, like House of a Thousand Corpses is not bad. Devil's Rejects, I genuinely do like. I think it's a good movie. But yeah, I think if I would be
my freshman year college roommate, by the way, he's just a regular Long Island guy, Mets fan, like nothing. But he would always watch Devil's Rejects and House, like always.
Yeah, Devil's Rejects, good ass movie. And like,
what year did Devil's Rejects come out?
It's got to be like turn of the 2000s, I think. No, maybe a little earlier.
Right.
I would forget exactly. But but like that's what I'm saying is like I would be more excited about him making a new horror movie versus him going into comedy. It just makes like, would you want to go see a comedy directed by Ari Aster or whatever? Like, and Ari Aster is a genuinely great filmmaker. Like, I wouldn't want to see someone from that sensibility. Like, can we talk about how some comedy guys go into the horror scene and all that? Rob Zombie's not a comedy guy. That's
a good way. Rob Zombie is the inverse Jordan Peele, where he went from horror and tried to make comedy. The difference is Jordan Peele is actually like a good storyteller and knows what he's doing and understands the genre. That is a good way to put it. Like, I think the difference is like everybody has an idea, like a sense of what is scary. Not everyone has an idea of what is funny. You know what I mean? Like it's harder to translate that way. Did he write this, Rob Zombie?
That's a good question.
If he did, it was, maybe in Cran.
Yes.
He did? Yeah. It was him. So, he wrote into. Damn, dude.
Writer, director. Oh, so bad. So 5 from Chris, 7 from me. Ken Jack, what was your score again? 20.
I'd be at a 5 as well.
With 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna dump back.
Do you
final score?
Yeah, good.
5 stars. Yeah.
so you
stinker.
It's you. I mean, to say you like it, you dislike it just a little bit less.
Oh no, I hate this movie. This is 5.
No, I know, but you dislike it a little bit less than Blonde based on your rating.
Yeah, like Blonde was like actually like from Jeff earlier. Like that movie was offensive to me. Like
I totally get that. That does make sense because that was probably a harder watch. This was just fascinating with how bad it was. Yeah.
Just a dog shit movie. Big times. It's the definition of a stinker.
Yeah.
If we were talking about it. Like that's one like, and it's again, if it was just like maybe an hour long, I'd be more compelled to recommend it to someone to like watch it because it's so bad it's good or something like, or watch it because it's a train wreck. This movie feels like it's 3 hours long. Like I would never recommend that to anybody ever.
It's already been streamed for 300 million hours.
No, I'm sure Netflix PR has already put that to the most streamed horror movie in the last 100 years.
It's ironic because that's how long it felt when you're watching it too.
Them and The Rock, two of the biggest liars in media. The Netflix PR and The Rock, two of the biggest liars.
That's our review of the Munsters. Crazy movie. I would not suggest watching it, but if you do, you won't forget it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Very memorable in like a bad way. Next week, Halloween ends.
Okay.
Halloween ends next week.
Can't wait for that. It's definitely going to end, isn't it?
He's not going to fucking die.
He's not dead, so Halloween won't be over.
He's not. That's it for Ken Jack and Chris and Gooch. I'm Jeff D. We'll talk to you next time.